What's up, human beings? How you doing today? Long time no see. Been busy, been doing everything I can. It's just been a little bit draggy, if that makes sense. What's up, Roar? What's up, Golden Apples? I am glad that you are here. Just hearing myself talk real quick. Yep, I sound good. How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing? So, apparently, we're going to talk about DreamcastGuy. This is just a stream where we're just going to talk about DreamcastGuy, look at what he had to say, because there's a lot going on in the gaming community. I'm doing good, Golden Apples. Appreciate it. I didn't get back to it. It's just I've been so busy and tired. You know, life happens. What can you do about it? Anywho, I kind of want to get back into like VR streaming, stuff like that. I just have to figure it out because I got into bowling a little bit, and bowling is actually kind of my passion now. So that's going to be something that I'm actually looking forward to get into. Probably make a second channel for bowling. So yeah, that's going to be fun. That's going to be a lot of fun. But we're going to go ahead and get into DreamcastGuy. I got a new OLED ultra wide monitor, Alienware. Oh shit, that's actually not bad. 34 inches, that's perfect. To me, 27 inches is fine. If you're going to go with that, that's actually perfect too. It's a good monitor. Good monitor. Heard great things about the Alienware. Is it a little bit expensive? I'm not sure because I don't have any Alienware, but I know their computers are expensive, but their monitor is actually worth the price. So you got yourself a good one, Golden Apples. You do got yourself a good one. All right. So let's go into the DreamcastGuy. And we're going to go ahead and go in order. I got 4 videos that we're going to look at. The thing about it is I haven't looked at these videos. I just got into it. I played a little bit just to hear like stuff going through, and honestly, I think I only played like 10 seconds. And we're just gonna go ahead and pretty much it was under $650 for open. Really? That sounds like a good price. But before I do anything, give me 1 second. I had to put on my Razer snake so we could have a little bit of snake in the background. But no, that's actually really good. I'm happy that you got that monitor. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna look at DreamcastGuy. You already know. This video is the PlayStation hates PC gaming. Sony going back to full PlayStation 5 exclusivity. When it comes down to exclusivity, I'm going to say this. I wish everybody could play any game despite on what platform they're on. That's always going to be my look at it. I'm always pro-consumer, so I don't want people to just buy hardware just to play a single game, because that's just a waste of fucking money. But you already know how the PlayStation fanboys are. They don't get how pro-consumers actually work. They're more anti-consumer instead of pro-consumer. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at this video, and we're going to go ahead and check it out. I gotta get back into it, so do forgive me. I'm trying to get back into the streaming. So if it's too loud, let me know, and we could get to it.
Hey there, gamers, DreamcastGuy here. Today we're talking about a very strange leak that has just come out about PlayStation. Now, pretty much,
I think it's a tad bit loud, so I'm just gonna raise it down just a little bit.
every major source from Digital Foundry to Sneaker SO to Jason Schreier himself is apparently claiming Sony is pulling out of...
We're going to redo that.
Hey there, gamers. DreamcastGuy here. Today we're talking about a very strange leak that has just come out about PlayStation. Now, pretty much every major source from Digital Foundry to Sneaker SO to...
Okay. I mean, it's not spectacular, but sometimes topic comes up on the show before I'm quite ready to publish a story about them. More to come soon. I'm sorry. Thank you for listening. Triple Click. This week episode was lots of fun. Yeah, a lot of people are going to go ahead and talk about it because they hear the news first and they're going to go ahead and, put out on social media. Me, personally, I don't tend to be on social media over and over again. I kind of too busy for it. Which is a good thing because I think social media is actually kind of draining, but...
Jason Schreier himself is apparently claiming Sony is pulling out of the PC business, meaning the fact that for the last couple of years, there's been a very interesting experiment going on over at PlayStation, where they've been putting PlayStation first-party games onto Steam.
I want to keep it real. I think it's a rumor. I'm not going to go by rumors. But I think this is a rumor. I don't think Sony is going to go ahead and put their games, pull it off of Steam, and place it on the platform. Because if you think about it, if Sony did that, you think the Helldiver controversy with, we're going to go ahead and let everybody sign into PlayStation in order to play Helldivers. And a lot of PC players was like, then we're not going to play your game. I think it's going to be the same thing. I think when Sony, if Sony take their games off of Steam, I think a lot of gamers on Steam and on PC is going to go ahead and do the same as that thing that they did with Helldiver, that they did with everything else. Because I'm not saying that we're petty, but we're petty. Welcome everyone. I got 5 viewers. Yay. Welcome everyone. How you doing today?
And not just multiplayer stuff. We're talking about God of War, Returnal, Spider-Man. These games have been coming to PC. And not only that, Sony bought an entire PC porting house, Nexus, to help make these incredible versions of these games. These are extremely good ports that clearly cost them a lot of money to make. They have...
Are they really good ports? Because Returnal is pretty good. Returnal is a good port. I mean, I'm not a third-person action-adventure game with stealth element player. I don't like to play like movie games because that's basically what Sony is now because they all play the same. So, whatever. And I heard some of the ports that Sony put on the platform is actually horrible and they need patches. So, if you want to call it good ports, I guess that's a thin line.
Widescreen support, 200 frames a second, crazy graphics customization. But apparently, according to these leaks, they've changed their mind.
Again, I'm always going to say they're rumors. I'm not going to believe rumors until the companies say, this is what we're doing. Because, to be honest, I'm a Knicks fan. And we heard rumors that KD was coming to the Knicks, Kyrie coming to the Knicks. I was like, I don't think they come to the Knicks. Guess where they went? To the Brooklyn Nets. So rumors.
Do not want games on PC at all. Unless it's like a live service game, they're just saying, no thanks, the experiment has failed. Now,
what do you mean by failed? That's a good question that I'm trying to think of. What do you mean by failed? Because if you look at it, I don't think they failed. I think they made like billions of dollars just to put games onto platforms, like on a PC platform. They made money. So the fact that they failed is just two things. Number one, they made money. And you don't think $1 billion is a lot of money. I mean, look at Concord. They spent close to $500 million on that, and that failed. And number two, if they didn't put their games onto PC, they wouldn't see any sales. So if you're going to call it like a fail because it sold a little bit, well, look at it. Sony still made money off of it. So if Sony didn't put their games onto PC, they would not get the PC audience. Yes, games are $60, $70, which I think is a ripoff, but they still made money off the Steam platform.
Let's talk about this, because in a way, I think this makes more sense than we originally assumed. Let's get into it.
What do you mean by more sense? And I know this is an intro. I need to make a bingo board.
Hi, hope you have a great day. If you could please give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Now, we're going to go through all the sources that are discussing that, but I think that...
I'm going to read it. Digital Foundry have also noticed signs that... Digital Foundry had also noted signs that PlayStation, under its new leadership, may be pulling back from its push towards PC, particularly when it comes to first-party single-player titles. Live service games are a different story, as they need as many players as possible, so board platform availability make business sense. I don't think that make business sense because they're not making money. They're only making money off of PlayStation. And PlayStation first-party titles only sell like less than 20 million copies on a platform. And what? Sony sold 100 million copies of, PlayStation 5s. So if you're going off of exclusives, look at Nintendo. Nintendo sold how many Switches? 150 million Switches? And yet Mario Kart 8 Deluxe sold 80 million copies on a Switch. I think it's 70 million copies on the Switch, and it was 10 million on the Wii U. And telling you the truth, exclusive actually don't push out consoles. Look at the Wii U. The Wii U, Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U, sold at least 95% of its user base. But at the same time, their user base is at 13 million consoles sold. Close to, I think, either low 14, a little bit over 13, a little bit close to 14 million. So if Mario Kart 8 sold on the Wii U and it sold a little bit over 10 million copies, yeah, that's impressive. But looking at the player base, it was only 13, maybe 14 million users, because I was one of them. I own a Wii U. So they can sell a lot of copies of Mario Kart 8. But if your console platform only sold 13, 14 million, that's actually a fail. So if that's a fail and it sold 90%, maybe 95% of users that was on the Wii U that played Mario Kart 8, that's still a failure. So 20 million against 100 million on the PlayStation 5, that's also a failure. So when they put the games onto PC, they still made money. Because if they never placed it on the PC, they still didn't make money off the PlayStation. Off of their off of their games. I don't care if Steam take 30%, I don't care this, that, or the third. They still don't have enough to sell games for people that's on the PC to buy a PlayStation. Because why would I spend over $500 to play one game? That's just it. And the exclusive is not going to carry.
Just on the surface.
Oh yeah, I'm going to finish. For the AA title, Sony publishing in partnership with Eternal Studios, they're a little insensitive to keep them exclusive. That's not great. Those studios will naturally want to reach the widest possibility of possible audience for their games and business. It also worth noticing that recent hardware accessories like the monitor and speaker were marketed not just for PCs, but clearly for consoles and the PlayStation Portal as well. And this is where I'm going to say PlayStation looking at their console more like a PC, because with all these PlayStation fanboys, oh, we don't need a monitor. We play on the TV. We don't need speakers because speakers is on the TV. But then now you looking at the monitor and the speaker that look more towards a PC. What is a Sony fanboy going to do with a monitor and a PC? They have no argument because they sit on the couch to play games. And if they say, oh, I'll play at my desk, well, congratulations. The whole argument of playing on the couch is done. Looking at products development timeline, these could have likely been in development before any major strategic shift will finalize with the new regime. Honestly, I don't think PlayStation should take games off of their platform, because there's people around the world who can't get PlayStation, because guess what? It's just smart to get a PC because it's a lot cheaper than getting a PlayStation. Around the world, yes. Oh, sorry.
This level, this kind of makes sense. You know, we've seen recent financials from Sony where they've essentially said that a lot of their games on PC are selling hundreds of thousands of copies. But to them, that's clearly just not enough. Just in general, the fact that PlayStation very much from the...
But at the same time, 100,000 is still more than zero. Because if they didn't sell those games on PC, they will not see those hundreds of thousand copies that would have made them billions. That's the thing that I don't think a lot of people get. That's on a PlayStation fanboy side.
Very start said the whole point of this PC experiment was to get you to buy a PlayStation 5. The whole idea.
But the question is, and this is what I would like to ask the PlayStation fanboys. Are you going to buy an Xbox? No. So when Xbox put games onto the PlayStation Network, you get to play their games. Meaning, yes, Microsoft is losing 30% of that sale, but you still get to play the games. So you don't have to buy an Xbox to play Xbox games that they put onto PC. They still making money. It doesn't matter if it's 100%, 70%, 50%. They still making money, making profit. So if you're not going to buy a Xbox to play Xbox games, Xbox is going to put the games onto other platforms so you could play the games. So question is, if you're not going to go ahead and buy an Xbox to play Xbox games, what make you think I'm going to buy a PlayStation to play PlayStation games?
Idea was, all right, we'll put Spider-Man on there, and now you want to buy a PS5 so you can get Spider-Man 2. Here's God of War. Now you want to buy it to get God of War Ragnarok. But it seems like that just didn't really work. PC gamers were buying the games, they're loving the games, they're cheerleading the games, they're modding the games, but at the same time, they already have a really powerful PC. They're not going to buy a $600, $700 PlayStation 5 Pro, right?
It's like this. We're not going to go ahead and sit there and buy a $500 piece of hardware to play games if I can't mod, if I can't do anything that I want on that hardware. If I'm limited to what I could do, why would I buy a $500 paperweight to play exclusive games that play just like the other one and the other one and the other one? I hate to say this, but all PlayStation exclusive games just play the same. Like 90% of their games play exactly the same. And it's kind of tiring. And plus, they're more movie-likes. Like, when I want to play a game, I want to at least have at least 20 to 30% of the story and the rest to play the game. because I really don't care. I don't have the time to play and all that stuff. Like even me trying to create content, like right now, it's been a while since I came back online to create content because I'm always busy. You have to tell me what else can I do, because if it's not for the exclusive, what is PlayStation have to convince me to buy a PlayStation? Because exclusives is not enough. If you look at how many people that play on PC, they're playing a wide variety of games. We just don't play AAA, but we play AA, indie, we play sports games, we play puzzle games, we play TCG, we play games that's not even on Steam. People who create their own games that's not on there and they give it to you for free. We have multiple stores where we could check out and get games. Why would I go ahead and spend $500 to $700 on a PlayStation 5 and I had to pay full price for a game that I may or may not like and I can't return the game? It's that simple.
Don't have that same like fire inside them, because in a way they think, well, the games will come eventually. And it sounds like, according to new leadership, they're now ready to pull back towards this PC push, particularly when it comes to first player, single player titles. I guess.
And I will not miss them. I will not miss those first party single player titles because there's other games out there that I could play. There's the reason why gamers on Steam always going to say, I don't care because I have a full library of games, because all we could do is go ahead, get on our PC and go to Steam and start playing the game that we have on our hard drive or on our M.2 or SSD, because we have more games that we could play that it just doesn't make sense to play. And plus, how much PlayStation games cost on Steam? It's a waste of money.
Maybe it was just too expensive, or maybe in a way they weren't seeing that feedback that maybe they actually desired. Like, think about how they handle exclusives. Sony does not release a lot of PlayStation exclusives, especially in the last couple of years. When we do, they're incredibly good, like Ghost of Yotei or Astrobot, but even when that game sells something like, let's say 5, 6, 7 million copies, right? Let's say 7 million copies of Ghost of Yotei have sold. That to them is incredibly valuable, because how many of that is new players?
Okay, let me argue with this. You say 5 to 7 million people buying it. To be honest, compared to 100 million PlayStation 5 been sold, that's not a lot. That's definitely not a lot of copies. You thinking that as a positive, but they're going to have to sell at least 30 million copies of Ghost of Yotei just to be at least somewhat profitable. Look at, like I said, I always going to go back to the Mario Kart. You have 150 million Nintendo Switches out there. And Mario Kart on the Switch 2 sold a little bit over 70 million copies. That is close to half that sold on the Switch, on the original Switch. That is impressive. So until you tell me that Ghost of Yotei sold at least 30 million copies on the PlayStation itself, 7 million copies is actually a failure in my opinion. And I understand y'all saying Nintendo is doing their own thing. It's still a gaming console. And it's still competing against PlayStation and Xbox. You're putting it to the side because all the arguments you're having, Nintendo actually counter it. Even though Nintendo is a trash company, your arguments sounds like if you bring Nintendo to it, it destroy it.
How many of that is people that bought a PlayStation 5 to play that experience, and now they're locked into the ecosystem, meaning that, hey, every future game, we're going to get a cut. First party or third party. Every game you buy is now through us. Whereas if you're playing it on Steam, yeah, we're happy we got $70 out of you, but Valve got a cut, and now Valve's going to keep getting a cut. We want
to... Okay. So this cut thing, this consistent cut thing. Let me ask you a question. How come you cannot have the game cheaper when it comes out on PlayStation? Think about it. Microsoft sell their games on the PlayStation Store for $70. Guess what? They take 30%. So they're not really getting that much. Like, let's take not Gran Turismo, but Forza Horizon. When Forza Horizon came out, they had two type of bundles. They had the $70 entry bundle, but they also have another bundle that costs $100, and you get the game like 2-3 days earlier. A lot of people went with that bundle, $100. Guess what? 30% of 100 is 70. What's up, lady gamer? How you doing? So if Forza Horizon sold the game for $100 on the PlayStation platform, and PlayStation took 30%, guess what? They got $70 back. Because a lot of people wanted to play Forza Horizon. So why is games on the PlayStation platform more expensive if they sell it on their platform? Think about it. If they sell the games... That's great. That's great, lady gamer. I'm happy you're in here. Love to see you here. So if they sell the game on their platform in their own store, they get 100% of that sale. So why are they selling games on their platform for $70? They could sell on other platforms for $100, and they could get $70 back. Just like how Microsoft did it for the deluxe edition. You get it early, and all you have to pay is $100. Guess what? They got the $70 back. But on the PlayStation Store, why are they selling the game for $70 where they're getting the full 100% back? But they sell it on the on Steam, they only getting a certain amount back. That's something that I had to think about, because now you're doing that argument, but when Microsoft sell their games on their platform, or they sell their games on Steam, they still got to give a certain amount of percentage to Steam, just like they had to give a certain amount of percentage to it. It's just business. So you hear crying about, oh, PlayStation's not getting all their money back. What about Steam, who released Half-Life back in the day? What about Microsoft? They didn't get their full amount of money back. It's just a business transaction. That's all it is.
Make sure that you're contained in the PlayStation ecosystem. But the one exception to that, of course, is live service. Sony is very dead set on this idea of trying to make their own version of Fortnite. Just everybody wants some sort of live service. So
is every other company. Big whoop. Every other company trying to have a Fortnite killer.
Games like Marathon, I am actually going to be playing the Marathon beta. Starts here in 30 minutes. I'm going to be doing a video about the Marathon beta this afternoon. But stuff like Marathon, that new Horizon Zero Dawn, like weird game, that like multiplayer stuff is still going to be on PC. And
I'm still trying to realize something about Marathon, stuff like that. Not Marathon, but Horizon. Like, they're trying to make Horizon into like the Halo of PlayStation. To be honest, I don't even know who the Horizon main character is. Like, I'm dead
maybe
serious.
Some of that will even trickle over to Xbox. But clearly, the main focus is, even if like there's little partnerships, some of this stuff may still be on third party, but anything that's made by Sony Studios, like Sony Santa Monica, it now is only going to be exclusive.
okay, if Sony decide not to put their single player games on PC, but I can't tell them what to do. Yeah, I mean, they're gonna do whatever they want to do. To me, I'm just treating this as a rumor. I can't tell what they're doing until I get word from Sony. That's what I'm always going to do. But if they're going to put their game, if they're going to stop putting games onto PC, it's telling me two things. Number one, they're going back to their old ways, and I will never mess with Sony ever again. Like I said, I got Returnal and I got Spider-Man. Didn't finish Spider-Man because I got bored. Returnal is actually a fun game, but I will never mess with Sony ever again. I will literally boycott and not spend a single dime with Sony if they do this. And number two, it's telling me that they're afraid of the Steam machine. And the Steam machine should be a threat to these PlayStation fanboys. Not the fans of gaming, but these PlayStation fanboys.
And I think this kind of makes sense because I think it's just hard to deny the fact that
they will have to come out their shareholder. And that's another thing. Check this out. Check this out. Check this out. Check this out. Remember when Sony, because you can't lie to them. Exactly. So remember when Sony was announcing Wolverine and everything, and there was rumors that a lot of games came out, the leaks and everything, because some hackers leak out some of the stuff? Remember what's in that leak. They're supposed to make a whole bunch of X-Men game. They're supposed to make a Venom game. They're supposed to make a Wolverine game. But since they had contract with Disney said you have to sell a certain amount of copies. If you don't, you're supposed to pay back to us a certain amount of money. I mean, I'm not going to say the Wolverine game is going to be trash, or it is. I don't know. I haven't played it. But my whole entire argument is this. Remember the leak that came out and Disney say, if you don't sell a certain amount of copies of this game, then you're supposed to owe us money? That's the reason why I don't think them putting games only on PlayStation is going to sell. The only way that they're going to make that many copies if they bundle in it with a PlayStation. But with 100 million copies, a PlayStation sold, I don't know how they're going to make that many copies for Wolverine, because a lot of people are not going to get Wolverine because it's only on PlayStation. Because a lot of people playing Fortnite, a lot of people playing these games that is quick, fast, and in a hurry. Among Us is still popular. Vampire Survivors is still a popular game. You also have Paranormal Activity, not Paranormal Activity, Phasmophobia. I'm happy that people get to play Wolverine, but I don't think it's going to sell as much as Sony think it is. In my opinion, I'm being honest.
PlayStation is now the default console. And honestly, I think Sony appreciates the fact that they just don't have to do that much work. Their system has sold so much that if you want a next-gen...
A zombie game doesn't deserve to be hacked like that. I agree. I don't think any company deserves to be hacked. But them being hacked is telling me that I just can't trust Sony. We don't know until the numbers come out. Exactly. We don't know. Exactly. I don't know. I don't know if Wolverine going to sell. It might sell like hotcakes. It might not. It's like with me with Grand Theft Auto, right? Grand Theft Auto. I think it might be overrated. That's just me, because the game have been overhyped. And when stuff get overhyped and people play the game and they say, oh, this is not as what I expect it to be, that's what I'm afraid for Grand Theft Auto when it comes out. And I'm not a Grand Theft Auto person. I don't like the games because I played it before. I'm like, it's whatever. I think it might be overhyped, in my opinion. I could be wrong. I would love to be wrong, but I think it might be too overhyped. But what he's saying is the exclusive is going to sell consoles, but I don't think that might be true. If it's going to be true, it might be Nintendo, because a lot of people bought Nintendo just because of the exclusive. That's the only reason why I think it might sell on Nintendo side, but on PlayStation,
console with the best optimized games, they're all on PlayStation, or in this case, PlayStation 5.
You know what's funny? Capcom actually destroyed that whole entire argument, because if it's only on PlayStation, they still had like bugs and glitches during Spider-Man. They had bad ports and bad ports and bad ports. I remember Final Fantasy dropped their quality down just to keep the 30 frames a second high. So the whole entire argument with that, it got destroyed by Capcom with Resident Evil Regulation or Resident Evil 9. After that came out, it was running great. It was running as top tier on PlayStation. It was running as top tier on Xbox. It was running as top tier on Nintendo, and it was running amazing. I mean, amazing on PC without any upscaling. So I just don't believe after Capcom came out with that game, Resident Evil, that just shut down the whole entire argument for you need to make games for one platform.
Pro. Like right now, I do have a review going up tomorrow for Resident Evil Requiem. I have been playing it, but there's weird embargo stuff. This version of the game is insane. It's photorealistic. I mean, the graphics literally practically defy the imagination. It just looks so good. And it's weird to think that it looks best on PlayStation 5 Pro.
I don't know, because not only it looked amazing on PC, but it also ran like, if I'm not mistaken, I know Oh No Is Alex did a thing on it, and it ran like at high hundreds without any upscaling and stuff. We don't know until the numbers. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, not only are you getting like true 1440p, true 4K on the PC, but it also ran at high hundreds on a PC that Oh No Is Alex is playing. I'm planning to get the game and do it myself because, excuse me, I got different hardware than Oh No Is Alex. I can't wait till I play native at 1440p. If I had a 4K monitor or 4K television, I would love to play on that just to see how my hardware will run.
This is not because of Sony tools or Sony developers. It's that they're getting a return on investment. Developers know, okay, if we put in an extra $5 million, $10 million of development cost to make it look extra incredible on PlayStation 5, that's where most players will. We'll sell hundreds of thousands, if not millions of extra.
But at the same time, let me switch camera. But at the same time, it's what you call it? It's sold. Let me see something. Resident Evil Requiem, $70. Golly. Let's go here. Here we go. I'm looking. I don't know how many sold. Very positive. Like, it runs on a 1660 6 gigabyte with Radeon 5500 XT, my old GPU I actually own. Actually not bad. It runs pretty well.
Leon, we're running out of time.
I'm trying to see how many is sold. In a Steam Deck, they're compatible? Oh, yeah, this game is actually... It actually runs. It had to run pretty well on it. Yeah. If it's very positive on the PC, I can't argue with anything. The PC port had to be amazing.
Copies. So Sony is in this weird spot when they think, okay, is it really worth trying to meet people on their side? Is it really worth trying to actually spend all this extra money porting, all this extra development time to put a external port out there on PC or even Xbox or Nintendo Switch?
Yes. The reason why I say yes is because if you port the game over to PC, you're going to get some sales. If you don't port the game over to PC, you get no sales, and you're gambling on PC players to buy a PlayStation for one game. And that's a big gamble. It's easier for you to port the game over to PC so PC players could play your games instead of hoping that a PC player is going to spend over $500 for one game.
When really at this point, we might as well go back.
And I'm going to say this to all the PlayStation fanboys out there, all the fanboys who play on consoles. Us PC players do not upgrade like you see on YouTube. We don't go out to buy a brand new GPU when it first come out. I don't even have a 9070 XT. I don't have a GTX 5090. I still rocking a Radeon RX 6950 XT. That's 2 generations old. And I'm still running games on it. Why would I upgrade if I don't need to? And that's where I think a lot of console fanboys fail to understand. We don't upgrade like console players or console fanboys upgrade on the console. And matter of fact, you still have console fans or console players still playing on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. I got my moderation back to really, you gotta tell me all about that. I want to hear the story about that.
To the closed garden approach. With the PlayStation 4, a lot.
Hey, Dreamcast guy, guess what kind of phone I have? I have the Google Pixel. I don't own Apple. You want to know the reason why? Because Apple is a closed system. Why would I own an Apple if I own a Pixel or any other Android phone where I could do whatever I want? And I already got problems with Android making it closed like Apple. Got me about to download Graphene OS in a second.
A lot of people kind of forget this now, but Sony was obsessively closed ecosystem. They didn't even want you to be able to play with people on other platforms.
Yeah. Doesn't make sense. Because here's the thing. When Xbox say they're going to be cross-platforming, that was a threat to Sony because guess what? You get to play with Nintendo players. You get to play with the PC players. Everybody could get together. So if you look at it, Fortnite, Paladins, what's that one game? Overwatch, Call of Duty. When you get more people playing, despite on what platform they're on, how is Sony going to compete with that? Only way they're going to compete with that is to make it cross-platform. Because guess what? It shows that you PlayStation fanboys cannot keep Sony running off of their exclusives. You're going to have to rely on the other players to try to buy the exclusive. And guess what? Those players don't play exclusive. They're playing 2K. They're playing Madden. They're playing Fortnite. They're playing Paladins. They're playing Overwatch. Now they're playing Marvel Rivals. They don't care about your exclusives. They just want to play with their buddies online consistently. And if Sony didn't do cross-platform, there would have been more Xboxes, more Nintendos, and more PCs sold just because, oh, Sony not going to let me play with my friends? What's the point of buying a PlayStation?
Which meant that for literally the first couple of years that Fortnite existed, you could only play with literally, like Nintendo Switch people could play with Xbox people, could play with PC people.
Exactly.
PlayStation 4 was in its own separate bubble.
And that's why people bought the other consoles and the PC, because they could play with their friends. That's just it. It's called evolving or adapting to what it is now.
In a way that very much worked. It took them years to start to let those walls down. And I kind of think they're about to bring those walls back up. But I want to talk about this Jason.
So let me get this straight. Either buy a $500 console to only play a game or two, or have freedom on my platform. Yeah, I'm just going to take freedom.
Schreier clip, because over on the Gaming Leaks and Rumors subreddit, people think that there's an extra bit to this. Jason Schreier says, pulling away from single-player PC ports, it's not speculation, but sometimes topics come up on the show, and before I'm quite ready to publish a story about them. More to come soon. So basically, it sounds like he's already writing it, but Jason Schreier is very obsessive in his wording. He's very meticulous about framing like business mergers and motivations. He doesn't...
You want to know why? Because people like you will take his words out of content. So you have to be careful how he words stuff before you PlayStation fanboys will destroy him.
I want to just, tweet it out. He'd rather make a clear, concise, here's the story and why you should care. So it sounds like he's still cooking that up. But people are pointing out the fact that this is probably part of another thing. You can see Sneeko SO also chimed in. Sneeko SO has done a lot of very good leaks about hardware stuff. And basically he's saying, yep, they're pulling back. And
here's the thing. I hate when these fanboys do leaks. The reason why I hate when the fanboys do leaks is because you're going to have people take it for your words because you're trying to get these views and all that stuff. And to be honest, if PlayStation haven't said it, if Microsoft haven't said it, or if the company that didn't say it, but everybody else saying, oh yeah, they're going to go ahead and stop putting it on PC, they're going to stop putting it on Xbox. If the company haven't said it, to me, it's just rumors, and I don't care about it. The reason why I'm reacting to DreamcastGuy is because I just wanted to make content. Like he's trying to make content about PlayStation stop putting their games on PC. It's the same thing as clicks and views. But the difference between him and I is I don't do it for the click and view. I just do it because I'm having fun. He's doing it because he have 2,480K subscribers, probably more than that. And he's just trying to make money. Let's keep 100% real. If I was making money off of this, I'm like, okay, cool, I'm making money, but I'm just doing it for fun.
Here, I think, completely nails the other part of the discussion that sort of changes how this was probably discussed when Sony first had the meetings about going to PC. PC was this separate ecosystem. PC is over here.
Again, separating all this stuff. Yes, you got people who just use a PC just for work. But when people start playing games, they're going to have fun. It's not our fault that you saying that the PlayStation 5 is better than a PC. We was even on that. With PC people, we like to try to push hardware to the absolute limits. That's why when the specs came out for the PlayStation 5, we sat there building PCs that could perform on the same level, better yet, higher than the PlayStation 5, because we like a challenge. But then you PlayStation fanboys are going to sit there and say, we just want to play games. But every time new hardware come out, and I guarantee you right now, when the PlayStation 5 when the PlayStation 6 is announced, guarantee you all the PlayStation fanboy groups is going to talk about the power. They're going to talk about the specs. And I guarantee you that it's going to be compared to a PC that's going to be high-end performance, where they don't realize PlayStation just upscale everything. That's all it is. It's a circle. It comes out. When it's announced, they talk about hardware. When it comes out, they just gonna go ahead and not talk about hardware because they realize that the hardware doesn't keep up with the PC. And then when a new one come out, like the PlayStation 5 Pro is going to be a PlayStation 6 Pro. Oh, we're going to talk about the hardware. It's stronger than a 9090. Guarantee you that.
here, consoles over here. We have this console competition, we've got PC competition. But now, this next generation, the lines are starting to get blurred. There's talks that the next Xbox will, in fact, be able to play Steam games, which means that Sony...
It means that Microsoft is evolving and realize that there's going to be more people that's going to play on PC. Here's the thing. Microsoft, yes, the Xbox is a console, but Microsoft is also own Windows and they build PCs like the Surface. They're not looking at the console itself. They're looking at the reaction of people moving from consoles to PCs. It's called adapting to your surroundings. If Microsoft see a whole bunch of people switching from consoles to PCs, they get paid a lot of money to do the research. And what they did, since a lot of people play on PC, everybody adapting from playing on the consoles to PC, why won't we do the hard part for them, so when they buy a Xbox, the new next generation Xbox, they have a PC. That's all it is. And PlayStation need to get their act together before they become before they become Sega.
It's in a spot where maybe they're thinking, okay, it's not worth spending millions of dollars of our own money, our own investment, our own time, our limited developers. Putting those games onto PC means now we're putting them on Xbox, a direct competitor. And I still don't think the next Xbox is even coming out, but that's something they do have to account.
Yes, Xbox is competing against against Linux and Steam. You want to know why? Because when they did their research, a lot of people is getting sick and tired of Microsoft with their computers, that people don't mind downloading Linux just to escape the ecosystem of Microsoft. And they realize they're getting better performance switching over to Linux than going onto Microsoft. The only difference is they don't get the support that they have that made it easy to be on Windows. But guess what? There's workarounds, completely workarounds. So it's not just a gaming situation. They have to think about their computer situation too, because guess what? People is leaving Microsoft for Linux. That's it. It's not a gaming thing. It's an industry thing.
For is that they can't lock it out. They can't say, hey, make this not work on Xbox. And those videos of people booting up Spider-Man 3 in 4K, super widescreen, crazy supports on an Xbox would look bad. I do.
Oh, so you're upset that people could do that? You're upset because they have the option to do that? Well, that's a difference between your fanboys and people who just want a game. The people who want a game, they're either going to buy a PlayStation and play the games because they don't care about the console wars, or you're going to have people who actually despise fanboys and just end up having a PC and say, hey, look, I got true 4K. I got a widescreen where I get to play the games. I can't play on a 100-inch TV because I don't got widescreen support. That's basically it. Oh, I could play on the 100-inch screen because guess what? My PC got a HDMI port through the GPU. Plug it in. Oh, guess what? I get the game and I get better frames. Even though the TV running at 60 or 120 frames, the extra frames is going to push it out where I get to play 4K beautifully.
I think that would kind of make some people say, okay, why didn't I buy an Xbox then? And also, the Steam machine. I still think, some people are saying the Steam machine will be irrelevant to the console market. I still think, you see a lot of people hating on the Steam machine. People are hyping the Steam machine up too much. It's a needle mover for the niche communities. Look.
Let me tell you something about the Steam machine. If I go to a casual player that play just on console, who play Call of Duty online, who play Fortnite online, who play all these games that's supposed to play online, Helldivers, all that stuff. They play on their PlayStation. And I went to them as a casual gamer. Hey, man, are you sick and tired of playing online? Yeah. What if I could tell you that you could go ahead and play these type of games online without paying a fee every single month, where you don't have to upgrade your hardware to play newer games in the future? How would you feel? They will be like, they will say, that actually sounds pretty awesome. So you're saying I don't have to buy a PlayStation 5? I don't have to buy a PlayStation every single time they come out with a newer PlayStation because I can't play a certain game that is not meant for a certain hardware? Exactly. Sign me up. And I don't have to pay for online gaming? Sign me up.
Ignore that person. I think the Steam Machine is going to be an absolute interesting game changer. And again, the Steam Machine plays every Steam game. And I think, again, having these big, crazy, expensive AAA single-player stories that sell PlayStations, and now you could see it somewhere else, I do think that tells a lot of people PlayStation doesn't matter. I think
it's not just that, it's just the value. It's literally the value. You're talking to a person who don't want to spend extra money knowing that they are not going to get the full experience on that platform. Because you're telling me in order for me to play single player games on the play that is made by PlayStation, it's a play on the PlayStation. So if I'm playing one game, you tell me I have to spend the $500 to play one game, and then after that, I got a paperweight? No. That's why when I tell people if they're going to play on a PC, do not spend more on a PC, because I don't know if you're going to like the PC or not. You should spend as less money on the PC just to try certain games. And if you don't like it, that's fine. You didn't spend thousands of dollars on a PC. And then you can use that PC for more than just gaming. That's literally what PC builders and PC people try to tell you. Don't overspend just because you think you're getting best of the best, and then when you don't end up liking it, you're going to turn around and say, oh, I don't like it. It's the worst $3,000 I spent.
That the stories, playing these games, sitting on your couch and seeing these crazy awesome plot twists and cool cutscenes and really nice set pieces like old school Uncharted, that sells systems. And if they see that, but you're holding it.
The thing is, it didn't sell me on buying the system because I don't like story-based, I don't like movie-based games. What I mean by that is third-person action adventures games with stealth elements. I stopped playing Spider-Man because I was bored. And I had to play as Mary Jane. I was like, oh, I had to play as Mary Jane? Nah, I'm good.
Xbox controller, you're playing that Steam controller. I think that does tell people, okay, I can play those games eventually on other platforms. I'm fine waiting. And Sony's getting afraid of that. That's just my 2 cents, though. How do you feel about the idea of Sony pulling back from PC and going back to fully being exclusives on one platform?
It's going to be dumb. It's going to be a backlash, and you're going to lose more customers when it comes down to it, because I think a lot of people who play on Steam is going to say, I will not spend a single dime on PlayStation. Why would I buy a PlayStation 5? They're just going to go ahead and tell me I can spend $500 on a platform. Nah, I'm good. Okay, that's the first one. Here's the second one. This is Xbox and PC gamer angry at PlayStation. Okay. I don't know what you're going to say. This is my first time watching it. I only saw like about 5 seconds of it. I was like, yeah, I'm about to watch it.
Hey there, gamers. DreamcastGuy here. Today we're talking about PC games and the PlayStation 5, because a couple days ago, I made a video reporting on a big leak that essentially, apparently, internally, Sony is not happy about this PlayStation PC initiative. That apparently, just in raw numbers, that Sony feels like putting PlayStation exclusives, especially their single-player stuff that sold the most PS5s, they think it's a mistake to put that stuff on Steam, because currently...
Here's the one thing that came up. And this is for anybody who owned an iPhone back when iPhones came out with the App Store. And this is something that that I think a lot of people who don't like to be told what to do. So here's the thing. When Apple first came out and then they came out with the store, there was a lot of restriction, like stronger restriction than what it is now, on Apple stores, so they could go ahead and try to control everything. A lot of people didn't like that, so you know what they did? They jailbroke the iPhone. That's just another way of hacking, because when you tell human beings you can't do this, that, and the third, you know what some people gonna do? Okay, listen, yeah, you're right. I'm not gonna do it. But you know what other human beings gonna do? You don't tell me what to do. I'm going to do whatever I can to do what I want, when I want, because it's my item. You don't tell me what to do after I gave you money for an item. So you know what they did? They started jailbreaking. Yeah, Apple got used to that and everything, but it's a human nature that if a company trying to tell another person what to do, it's going to be retaliation. Okay.
The strategy for the last couple of years has been that basically they'd release a game, something big like God of War, and they release the previous one on PC. When Ragnarok comes out, well, here's God of War 2018. Something to sort of be that gateway drug. Here's the first taste. If you want the real one, the new one, the fresh one, well, you got to have a PlayStation 5. Apparently, Sony thinks that this has just been a colossal mistake.
They made money. It doesn't matter how much money they made. I know it was like $1 billion or over $1 billion. They still made money because if they didn't place it on the PC, they wouldn't make money because they were hoping that people going to buy a PlayStation 5. Like me, I didn't buy a PlayStation 5 for Returnal. It came on PC, and guess what? Here's another thing. PlayStation is waiting too long to put the games onto PC. That's another reason why they're failing, because here's the thing. When Returnal came out, I was like, that's an awesome game, but for $500, I'm not going to pay for it. Yes, Returnal was $70. Want to know the reason why I say $500? Because I don't own a PlayStation 5. So in order for me to play Returnal, I have to buy a PlayStation 5 and Returnal. So I had to spend close to $600. I didn't want to go ahead and buy it for so yes, there's a disc drive that was $400. I didn't want to get the discless version. I would rather just buy the disc, put it in there, and start playing. But then there was bug and glitches, so that means I had to make an account so it could do more upgrades. With that being said, I would have had to make an account so I could be on PlayStation. So I had to go ahead and upgrade, and then I had to play the game, because remember, it was broken. Remember the Mason Lucas, he was having a problem because guess what? It was broken. But then not only that, no returns. And I had to wait for a patch for a game that just came out that's supposed to be on a disc that is a single player. So I had to spend over $500 because I had to get the disc, I had to get this, that, and the third, just to play one game. Guess what? They put it on PC. I got it for $20. You think I'm going to spend money on a game that's a year old, that the hype went down? If it came out day and date, PC and PlayStation, I would have given Sony $70 because I wanted to play it day one. I wasn't going to spend over $500 on there. But since PlayStation released it out, it was like $50, $60. Why am I paying that much? I just wait. Oh, I found it on CD Key for $20. Here you go, CD Key. Thank you for the key. put it in. Guess what? I got the game for $20. Sony would have saw more of my money if they release it day and date on PC, but they didn't, because guess what? The game already been out for a full year, and the hype died so much that I waited until it went down to $20, and I went and spent it not on Steam but on CD Key. That's why they failing, because it's not releasing day and date.
So there has now been a big pullback. Sony has actually said, screw PC. There goes all the exclusives other than their live service stuff. We're taking our ball and going home. Now,
or if they want to make more money, release it day and date, but they didn't.
Reported on this, I thought it was interesting, but not that world changing. This weekend, people have been mad. I mean, I have now seen about 50.
Oh no, I'm not shocked.
Different podcasts, from Xbox podcasts, PC podcasts, even some PlayStation podcasts, like legit.
Thank you for the people who made a podcast and they was mad about this decision. Thank you.
Tear their hair out pissed, saying this is a betrayal of PC. Xbox needs to rip all of their games off of PlayStation. I mean,
I don't think it went that hard. I mean, no, if Xbox fanboys are crying about it, they're and they want their games to be off the PlayStation as well. They're doofuses as well.
People are going ballistic. And
I didn't cry when Phasmophobia went over to consoles. It was a PC exclusive. Supposed to be a VR exclusive. But I didn't get mad when Phasmophobia went to other places. I said, oh, more people that I could play Phasmophobia with. Like, I could play with Lady Gamer 1980 in Phasmophobia right now together as buddies. We could play together. And that's awesome because she didn't have to buy a PC. She just had to buy the game. And I think it's a discount on PlayStation Store if she could get the game.
Guess this, because I honestly think that Sony's strategy, to me, makes sense. They're making most of their money at this point from the ecosystem of PlayStation. Just every game that sells on PlayStation gives them a 30% cut. As much as it sucks, Sony is making their tens of billions of dollars.
Dude, you keep on going with console sales. Console sales does not matter because look at the Wii U. They could sell a whole bunch of software, but they didn't sell hardware. They could sell a whole bunch, like PlayStation. They could sell a whole bunch of hardware, but if their software not selling, it's a failure. And you're saying 7 million copies is a pass? Mario Kart 8 sold a little bit over 70 million copies on the Switch 2 alone, while on the Wii U it sold about a little bit over 10 million. So it doesn't matter about hardware or software. If it's not going to sell, if the hardware doesn't sell and the software doesn't sell, it doesn't sell. So yeah, they're getting 100% off because of it's on the PlayStation Store. I'm trying to figure out why the games are still $70 on the PlayStation Store if they're getting 100% of the profit. Where if they sold it on Xbox or Steam, they get 30%. If they want the full $70, they would have made the game 100. But they know it's not going to sell because $100 sound bad. You know this.
Not by selling games, but by having games sold for them. Let me discuss and take a look at a bunch of different sources, because even the head of Xbox and stuff is chiming in and saying this is the right choice. Let's break it down. Hi, hope you're having a great day. If you could please give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Now, I'm actually surprised to see so many people sort of still chewing on this. Typically, it's hard to get a gauge about the internet's backlash because honestly, a lot of these websites now are just so filled with bots and weird stuff. It's hard to tell how much of the rage is real. But when it comes to this one, it does seem like a lot of genuine gamers are seriously mad that they're sort of losing access to PlayStation if they don't have a PlayStation. Sony's...
Can you play the games on the PlayStation? Did PlayStation stop you from playing the game? No. then why do you care? It's a different story when it comes down to, oh, they stopped me from playing Returnal and I bought the disc. Oh, they stopped me from playing God of War because it's on the PC. If PlayStation stopped you from playing the game, like Concord, then you should be complaining about it because that's messed up if PlayStation done that.
It's reportedly pulling away from PC when it comes to single-player PlayStation games with more focus on console exclusivity. And pretty much all of the replies, we're going to take a special focus to this one here just a second. Basically, everybody is saying that PC is objectively the biggest platform. Like,
it is. There's like you could combine PlayStation users, Xbox users, and Nintendo users. And it doesn't even touch the PC. Matter of fact, it doesn't even touch mobile gaming.
We don't discuss this much here in America, but there's actually certain sections of the world where getting a console is incredibly difficult.
And therefore, put the games on PC so they could enjoy it. That's it. That's the whole entire argument. If you want your game to be enjoyed, place it onto console. I mean, not console, but PC. That's where it's at.
The PlayStation Store doesn't actually work in some countries, or buying an Xbox, it may not even come in a language you speak. So almost everybody in the rest of the world, huge chunks of places like China and stuff, there's basically no consoles in China. For the most part, everybody just uses PCs.
Exactly. So why are you going to go ahead and hold off on those people who can't experience the PlayStation games? How would you feel if Capcom stopped putting their games on PlayStation? How would you feel about that?
Not only because you can customize it more, but, well, I mean, you can read it, you can play it, right? So a lot of games on PC, there has been an explosion of PC gaming over the course of the last decade that has just been honestly hard to even measure. Some of the stuff people are discussing is like the newest game, Resident Evil Requiem, 300,000 concurrent players. This actually...
That's crazy. That's amazing. Good job, Resident Evil. Good job, Capcom.
Now, immediately, the biggest Resident Evil ever, which is saying because every Resident Evil has been pretty dang big, but suddenly, the newest one is just the...
Exactly. Sony ignoring PC day one is wild. Steam number like this, that's free money. That's free money, everybody. That is free money that they could have done for everybody. That is free, legit money. It's Sony like saying, oh, I'm allergic.
Biggest one, and a lot of people think that they pushed and advertised it so hard on PC, as long as how much they've advertising it on Nintendo Switch 2 and PlayStation 5. But some people are trying to claim this is a lie, saying, oh yeah, they've said that in the past. But here's the thing. It would be a disaster if Sony decided to pull away from PC. Sony generates $2.3 billion in revenue every single year. They talked about that in financial documents. Why would Sony want to stop porting games to PC?
Because they want people to buy their consoles, but fail to understand why PC players don't want to buy their console. I don't want to buy PlayStation because if they're going to act more anti-consumerism, I'm really not going to buy a PlayStation because of that.
Even people pointing out the fact that even recently there was talks about this cross-buy. Maybe there was even going to be a Sony launcher. There were some leaks that essentially Sony was going to try and make, you know, where there's like the Xbox app or there's the Blizzard launcher app.
They have one. They already have one. The funny thing about it is they failed to capitalize on it. I'm not buying any more consoles unless if it's retro. I know, right? I know. I mean, retro gaming is so awesome. Like, there's one I want to get, the Ion Thor. I want to get the Ion Thor in purple, so I could just go ahead and get all my emulation in the palm of my hand. I want to get that.
going to be a PlayStation app. And certain games you bought, if you bought it on PlayStation 5 digitally full price, it would also play on your PC and have not only cross saves, but also cross progressions.
But the problem about that is you have to pay. Like, here's the thing. With Xbox, you have cloud saves for free. PC, you have cloud save for free. PlayStation, you have to pay a membership in order to get cloud saves. In order for them to make that work, they had to go ahead and give you cloud saves. If it doesn't, that's a failure.
To pop trophies on your PC. I thought this was a pretty interesting idea. It sounds like Sony internally just said, man, a lot of work straight down the drain. Now, here's the thing. Look at this. They're afraid of the Steam machine. Xbox Next Gen will play.
I agree. They are afraid of the Steam machine. That's what they're afraid of. Let's keep 100% real. They're afraid of the Steam machine. You cannot tell me that they're not afraid of the Steam machine. That's what they're afraid of. You can't tell me nothing different.
PC Steam games. This, I do think, is about 80% of it, if I'm being completely honest, which is that some people are sort of saying that the big way that Sony can make even more cash is by diversifying their fan base, right? If there's not just PS5 releasing a new big next-gen single-player game, if you drop it day and date on all platforms, well, if it goes to Steam, that means that people, day one, would be playing a PlayStation game on the new Xbox.
Why is everyone so scared of Steam? Because they're private. Two things. Number one, it's not three things. Number one, I don't think people is afraid of Steam if they're gamers. Number two, you have controllability. When they're a private company, the government, all that stuff, with the lawsuits that have been going on, they can't touch them because they're a private company. They're going to do what they want, and they got their own lawyers and all that stuff. So that's the reason why they're afraid of Steam, because Steam don't have to listen to rules and regulation because they can't sell, because they don't have stocks that's on sale. They don't have people who give them money where they have to answer to somebody. They got 100% full control. And number three, it's only the fanboys that are afraid of the Steam machine, especially the PlayStation fanboys, because not only they're afraid of Steam, but you have Xbox in the making too, because you're telling me that I could buy an Xbox, which is a home console. I could play Steam games, and since there's games that's from the PlayStation onto Steam, where I could play Steam games on my Xbox, what's the point of buying a PlayStation? Yes, there's a big ass loophole, and that's the reason why Sony fanboys are afraid of Steam.
So they'd be playing it on the Steam machine, and I just feel like that wouldn't look good. But I want to take a look at some of these takes, but I wanted to start specifically with Mike Ibarra. This guy was actually previously the president of Microsoft. He worked at, president of Xbox at Microsoft. And this dude, he not only was in charge of...
I'm about to read it. I wish this wasn't the case, but in many ways it makes sense if true. They see the last nail in the coffin with Xbox and the crunk and the current there. Hope it turn around. Most important, they view Valve as a major new competitor. Valve will enter the living room and console market with Steam machine, and likely third-party variants of it all running on Steam OS. Valve doesn't make many mistakes, and Sony is smart to realize that. Shipping good exclusive games matter is not rocket science. To me, I don't care about exclusive. But is this not that? It's really not that. It's not just the software, but it's also the hardware. Remember, PC can play newer games despite on what hardware you have. If you go to newer games, they're going to have a minimum requirements. And since the minimum requirements can match with the Steam Deck or the Steam machine, what's the point of buying new hardware? If I could play a game that's only on PlayStation 6 but not on the PlayStation 5, but I can still play on my Steam machine. Why do I need to buy a PlayStation 6 if I can still play the game on hardware that came out during the last generation? And it's running Linux, so it's already being, all the resources is not going to something like Windows. Why do I need to buy new hardware? You saw Resident Evil Resident Evil 9 playing on Nintendo Switch 2. That game with insane graphics running on the Switch 2. Yeah, it's not as crispy as the PlayStation, but it runs pretty well. That's a threat.
Blizzard, this dude's done pretty much the whole gamut of the Xbox ecosystem. I wish this wasn't the case, but in many ways, it is, and it makes sense. They see this as the last nail in the coffin with Xbox, and the churn is there. Hopefully it turns around. Most importantly, they view Valve as a major new competitor. Valve will be entering the living room and console market with the Steam machine, and likely third-party variants of it also running that Steam operating system. Valve doesn't make many more mistakes, and Sony is smart to realize that. Shipping good exclusive games matter. It's not rocket science. Now, some people are, of course, taking this as a direct jab against Xbox, because when's the last time?
No, actually, Xbox is doing the right thing. They're making a PC console hybrid. They're just adapting. PlayStation seems like they're not. Oh, they're adapting? Let's just take our exclusives away. Okay, just a couple exclusive while I could play with my friends on the Xbox, on the next generation Xbox, on my Steam machine.
Xbox dropped a banger exclusive, and I'm being dead serious.
Oh, and here's a funny thing. Oh, I don't like the power of the Steam machine. I guess I make my own because it's a PC. Let me get a Ryzen CPU and a Ryzen GPU so I can get the true power for the Steam machine. If you want to build your Steam machine, get yourself Ryzen from AMD.
Leave it in the comments. What's the last truly banger?
If you look in the description of this video, it's my PC specs. I could literally make this into a high power Steam machine right now. A 6950 XT, Ryzen 9 5950X, 64 gigabytes of RAM with 16 gigabytes of VRAM. I could definitely make this into a powerful Steam machine that could last longer than a PlayStation 6, PlayStation 5.
Xbox exclusive. I mean, I genuinely racking my brain. I can't even think. Hi-Fi Rush, which is not exclusive anymore, and that's pretty much it. What are you going to get? Obsidian games? Like, what are you going to be getting? Like Avowed? I mean,
the question is, can you play it on your PlayStation? Yes? Well, congratulations. That's what we call pro-consumer.
Nobody even knows that Avowed is on PS5, right? But I wanted to actually go through this. I've seen some stuff like this. Xbox should consider canceling Halo for the PlayStation 5.
No, because it was multiplayer. Even though y'all don't like to play multiplayer, y'all like to play single player. That's why y'all got the trash Halo version. If y'all could have played multiplayer, I would have loved to play against y'all PlayStation fanboys.
I have seen some people that are sort of just discussing the fact that Xbox continues to get into a worse and worse spot, where originally the idea was, okay, they don't have any console exclusives day and date, but you know, there is still an advantage to having an Xbox. You get Game Pass and stuff, but some people are starting to go, okay, but
Game Pass, a lot of people don't talk about it because PlayStation fanboys forgot about this. Quick resume. If it wasn't for Xbox being like a douche because they raised the prices of their console, raised the prices of Game Pass, Quick Resume was one of the greatest things that could have happened. Because if you have 5 games running in the background like how RAM's supposed to run. You can switch back and forth to games. If you get pissed off about one game, okay, I'm dying in Halo a lot of times. Let me play some Hi-Fi Rush. Playing some Hi-Fi Rush. Damn. I like the music, but I'm getting kind of music out. Let me play some Forza. Play Forza. Consistently. That is one of the things that if you didn't realize you have it until you realize it's gone. That's one of the things that you didn't realize you had it until it's gone.
If Game Pass is getting almost as expensive as buying a game, I'll just buy the game. And if I'm upfront buying the game, at this point, I might as well just buy it on a better platform.
Here's the thing. There's people out there who's still buying membership a month. They're not buying like the whole entire year. They still going by month by month. And you might say that throughout the whole entire year, you're spending, you could get like 2 to 3 games that whole entire year, that money could go there. But you got to think about it. There's some people out there who can't really spend that much money at the same time. That's where Game Pass come in. Even for $30, it could be by 1 month, stuff like that, because there's people that will only spend like a month for Game Pass or for any subscription service, and then if they don't feel like playing for it, they're not going to go ahead and pay for it because they got free games that you could play online for free. When a new game come out, they could go ahead and just buy Game Pass for $30, which still is a ripoff, but let's keep it real. $30 for that 1 month. I play it, I beat it. Okay, cool. Let me go ahead and cancel the membership after the year. Cool. All right. I mean, not after the year, but after the month. Cool. Go to the next month. Oh, there's nothing on Game Pass I want to play. Let me not pay for Game Pass. Next month. Oh, there's nothing I want to play. Let me wait. Oh, next month. Oh, there's something I want to play. Let me go ahead and pay the 30. Boom. Beat it. Boom. There we go.
A game that looks halfway good on Xbox Series X is going to look a hell of a lot better on your PC and absolutely insane on the PlayStation 5, right? I get that people are basically saying, look, we have toys too. Let's take our ball and go home. And I just don't think you can put that genie back in the bottle. I mean, I truly think I have seen a lot of Xbox fans sort of half jokingly, to be clear, half jokingly talking about the idea that basically if there was some way for Xbox to start taking games off of PlayStation, would that really help? I don't think so. I think that
no, they need to keep on going with putting games onto PlayStation because this is where they're going to win. Like, I'm not trying to vote for Xbox, but they're going to keep on putting games on their platform because guess what? They know that it's all about services now. Because going to keep it real, how big is these games starting to become? They can't fit on a Blu-ray CD. I think Blu-rays are like 30 gigs and you still got to download it. So
Xbox's financials are already so bad. If they took something like Forza or Sea of Thieves, which they admit is making them like billions of dollars on PlayStation 5,
and that's funny because you're sitting here crying about Sony is losing 30% on the PlayStation. I mean, on Steam, losing 30% on Xbox with Helldiver, but Xbox is making bank off of the PlayStation while losing 30%. Where's the fucking logic? You're telling me that you're upset with Sony losing 30% on Steam, but you're okay with Microsoft losing 30% on on the on the PlayStation. They have to pay PlayStation. Just like you get upset about PlayStation losing money, where's the upset for Xbox losing money on PlayStation? Because you don't care about the Xbox. You care about the PlayStation ecosystem. And you know what's funny? It seems like Microsoft is doing a lot better making money off of PlayStation because people like to play with friends, multiplayer, all that stuff. Because guess what? That's what's selling is multiplayer games. Why would I buy any hardware if all the games is on every platform? Guess what? Microsoft saying, you know what? Sea of Thieves on the PlayStation, on the Xbox. I mean, on the PlayStation, on Steam. They raking in money. PlayStation, wait a whole entire year. Here go our scraps. $60. Why is it 60? Oh, you gotta pay the full price. I'm not gonna do that. Well, we put our games on there, our exclusives. Yeah, but there's no excitement anymore. It's on the PC. You're gonna get it. I just wait till it go down. I'll wait for a Steam sale. I got Hall Effect stickers. I got Hall Effect stickers. I'm sorry, I got Hall Effect sticks for my ally today, and they actually work. And they actually worked. Well, oh shit, that's awesome. I mean, that's a good thing about PCs. You can do whatever you want. You can switch everything, and you don't get in trouble like Nintendo. But yeah, if Microsoft making money after losing 30% on PlayStation, then what's PlayStation doing?
I think that it would hurt them. I think it would hurt them drastically financially, and you'd see studio closures more than you see an increase in sales on
Did a studio close with PlayStation?
Xbox. Everyone has an opinion about Sony pulling back on PC ports for single-player games, and often the reasoning against it is that they'd sell more. Apple could sell more watches if they open it to non-Apple devices, and they won't.
Actually, yes, they would. They would have sold more to non-Apple devices. A lot of people like the iPhone and Apple stuff, and it work with more devices. That's perfect. I already complained about that. If they open more so it could be freedom with Android, because Android puts stuff on Apple, and guess what? It works. Like you can get yourself a Google Watch, put it on an Apple device, and guess what? It worked. But Apple can't do the same thing. This is why I'd rather be pro-consumer than anti-consumerism. And that's why I hate Apple. I will never own a Apple product. Unless if I have my own business where I had to work on computers and I had to figure out how Apple worked, then I'll buy an Apple device due for me to try to figure out how it works. But other than that, I'm not going to buy no Apple device.
Well, why? Because long-term, it would hurt Apple. Exclusivity increases the brand value, and PlayStation is increasing the value of the PlayStation 5. And long-term, they will pay greater.
Here's a funny thing. My mom, she got a Mac Mini, right? And she had something to do with her job, right? She had to print some stuff, and she had a printer. Well, she was trying to print something off her MacBook, not MacBook, but Mac Mini. She couldn't print out in color. I tried to figure it out myself, and I couldn't figure it out. But when we went to my computer and I started printing, I could print in color. That's the difference. And when we looked it up, it was more steps to try to print out in color compared to click, click, print.
For the more sales today on a game. You may not like it. It may not make sense for you. However, this is the obvious move from a business perspective. Nintendo never bent the knee, and they're thriving, which goes against the logical assumption of some champions.
Wii U. Wii U. They sold nothing but exclusives on their platform after all the third parties left the Wii U. But they didn't sell enough consoles. Yeah, they sold a lot of software, but the hardware wasn't selling. I own the hardware, And guess what? I was irritated when they snuffed me with Watch Dogs. The reason why I had the Wii U is because I could hack with the tablet in Watch Dogs after they promised that. And guess what? It wasn't added. Do you realize how pissed I was when I found that out and they only use it for a map? So you're telling me I can't hack it so I could play Watch Dogs like that? I was so pissed.
I do think this is sort of just the brass tacks. This is the baseline, right? Which is that even if you personally are saying, I only game on PC, every person I know only...
And I heard Watch Dogs was supposed to be a Wii U exclusive because of the hacking system. I don't remember because it's been so long, but if I could remember, I thought Watch Dogs was supposed to be a Wii U exclusive because of the hacking situation that you can't get on the other place. Just like Zombie U was a Wii U exclusive, and then later down the line, they made Zombie U Zombie on PC, PlayStation 4, Xbox One.
The games on PC. If the games don't exist on PC, they don't exist. Well, you're kind of inside a bubble. I'm just saying that in general, there's a big wide world. And sometimes a lot of us kind of forget the fact that there's a lot of games out there that we sort of forget, a lot of very diehard, very profitable communities that some of us just don't really interact with. So it's hard to realize, if your algorithm isn't showing it to you, sometimes it's hard to realize that all these different like bubbles of billions exist. Now, I'm not going to get fully in.
So let me get this straight. There's multiple bubbles, but PlayStation don't want to cater to those bubbles where they could get more potential sales.
To this, Paris posted a 3.5-minute video that everybody is kind of roasting. I'm not going to dogpile him, but he essentially said that he thinks that Sony doing...
Hey, didn't you say keep his name out of your motherfucking mouth?
This is a mistake because they have the opportunity to increase the money they've been making on PC already. That right now they're making $2.3 billion putting games on PC. He essentially says that they should lean in.
Hey, Paris, we got the same headset. You got a Razer headset, my guy. Oh. Look, I know Paris don't watch my stuff because I am super small. I'm almost to 1,000 subscriber. If I hit that, I'm happy. I don't ask for a subscription, but if I hit that, great. But man, Paris, you got the Kraken Pro V4, right? How you like those, man? I can see it right now. Dang, that's crazy. I had to look at Paris for a quick second. Man, how you like those, my guy? I don't know if you got the Pro or the Pro Ultra. I got the most expensive one because I like the splitter, but they're very comfortable. Yeah, you got the expensive one. I can see the air cup. Yeah, you got the expensive one. Yeah, you got the expensive one. Paris, you got the expensive pair of headphones like me. I love it. I love it. How you like it, man? Just tell me, man. How you like these headphones? The middle do have it too. The middle do have it too. Woo! Yes. Yes. Y'all both got the Razer headset. That's what I'm talking about. Y'all both got the Razer headset. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. I'm geeking. I'm geeking. Yes. Razer.
Into the PC marketplace. He says that if they just put it day and date instead of trying to have these delayed releases, he says like the example he gives specifically is, all right, say you're putting out a new big PlayStation game.
That's what I'm talking about. Yes. 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 That's what I'm talking about. They know because guess what? They are going to sell day and date and make more money. If PC, if Sony release it day and date, just like everything else, they will make more money because the hype is there. When the hype is not there, there's no point. There's no point.
And now you're bringing it to PC. They normally bring it 2 years later, and it's still full priced.
Exactly. Why in the fucking hell would I spend $60 on Returnal if I could find it somewhere else for $20? The hype is gone. Because I'm going to tell you this right now, Dreamcast Guy. I would have dropped $70 on Returnal if it came out day one on PC and PlayStation. $70. I would have dropped it. That's how much I wanted the game. But guess what? They held onto it like a year or two later, and the hype is gone. Why would I give money? And it was $60. I'm like, yo, this is kind of old, don't you think? I might as well just go ahead and wait till I find it for cheaper. $20. Guess what? On on a key website. Why would I spend money if the hype is gone?
Why would a person buy that? Or why would they buy it at full price? And of course, a lot of this is basically saying like, okay, you're talking like we care if it's a mistake. The only mistake is you acknowledging it, and that's the real.
Wait, hold on. You're not going to skip the first one. Depend what the PC market turned into with the next 2 years. 3 to 5 years ago, building a PC was fairly achievable for an average player. Unfortunately, the barrier to entry is getting more expensive. Yeah, it is, but that's not gamers' fault. That's more of the AI fault. That's all it is. It's AI. That's all it is. If it wasn't for AI, PC will be a lot cheaper, but it's not because AI took it. So yeah, it's expensive now because of AI. And they even holding PlayStation back a year just to see what's going to happen. You're talking like we care if it's a mistake. The only mistake is you're acknowledging bullshit and not real important factor. So let me get this straight. My guy. You're telling me if Returnal didn't come out day and date, I would have spent the $60? Because I didn't. How much is Returnal? CD key. $22 on G2A, $20 on Imbra, $21.79 on Loaded, $19 on Drift, and how much is it on PlayStation? $70 on PlayStation still. So why would I spend $70 on PlayStation for Returnal if I could get it on a key website for the PC? I'm not talking about used, I'm talking about new.
Important factor. Your theory is incorrect. If you look at PC sales of PlayStation Studio titles, it's games that have been the longest wait which have the biggest sales. A lot of people
It would have been bigger if it was sold day and date.
Are just sort of picking it apart, but I thought this was an interesting thing to kind of end on. Well, I also want to go through this piece here, but let me talk about this one specifically, which is that I do think that, unfortunately, a lot of the gaming space right now isn't about exclusives. It's not about single player. It's about this free-to-play slop, in my opinion, which is...
You call it slop, which a lot of people would call it slop, but they're making money. You can call it slop. You could call it not swap. I don't care what you call it. They still making money.
that a lot of the gaming industry, the stuff that makes the most money right now, US gamers are not buying.
And I definitely need to get back to Marvel Rivals because I didn't spend a single dime in that game, and I feel like I need to. Can we play more
games anymore? New study finds a study revealed that a majority of video game sales are fueled by 4% of players. In 2025, 63% of US consumers are buying fewer games
because it's so expensive. It's so expensive. Why would I spend $70 on Returnal if I could get it for $20?
Now, a lot of it comes down to the fact that AAA single-player games are super expensive to make. They don't last very long. You only need a few per year, and most people just don't play more than 1 or 2 multiplayer games. All exacerbate the fact that life is extremely expensive. And I do think that
it's not just that. It's also the hand holding a lot. I wish a lot of games stop holding your hand, or you're making it easy. I guess Zombie fan always call it DSP. Like Reforged was having trouble with Resident Evil Requiem, and I saw that video. I was like, yo, he's having trouble. What the fuck?
This is the thing, that if it's like, hey,
and he was like, if there was something showing that I could go ahead and go that way. Okay, so you want your hand to be held.
I like buying a lot of games. I buy a lot of games. I review a lot of games. I have a lot of fun.
You buy a lot of games that even though you buy a lot of games physically, you have to download it. So it's technically not physical.
It's right. But I do understand that some people aren't going to be able to buy, the brand new Resident Evil and the brand new Pokemon and the brand new controller. A lot of people are just in a space where they're like, okay, they can only buy $70, $80, $100 of games a year. So are they going to buy one game, or are they going to get a subscription to World of Warcraft, which is $15 a month, and they can play that all year long?
And that's the reason why when games became $70 on PlayStation side, we was complaining. When games became $80 a game, $80 due to Nintendo, we was complaining. When Microsoft say they're going to make the games $80, we was complaining. When they raised Game Pass, we was complaining. But you know what your PlayStation fans say? It's for the developers, and yet they keep on giving us unfinished games. It took Capcom to release Resident Evil, where it's actually playable on every single platform. And here's a funny thing about it: PC gamers don't mind spending $70 if the game is 100% complete.
Or why don't they just buy a free-to-play game? They buy one skin they really like, and they play that game all year round.
I only got one skin in Fortnite. My nephew played a lot of Fortnite. I play with him. I got my skin, got my book bag. That's it. That's all I'm spending the money on, because my nephew played Fortnite. I play with him. Easy peasy.
And they play that game all year long. Now, I'm not going to claim that's the right path, but I am saying that
I kind of want to play that Michael Jackson mod too.
That I think more and more people, as money gets tighter, are making that cost-benefit analysis. Okay, how much new gaming experiences, how much community, how much fun can I have for the least amount possible? And
it's like back in the day with the Nintendo Entertainment System, when the Super Nintendo came out, and the kids asked the parents, hey, can we get the Super Nintendo? And they say, what's wrong with your original Nintendo? It's not the Super Nintendo. Back then, they was caring about how much they spend. Now it's like, I'll just get whatever I want.
A single player game that does cost $70, even if it does have the best story and the best graphics, I do think that unfortunately there are more and more people, especially young gamers, that are saying they don't care about stories. They don't care about cool, moving, questioning of reality or mind-bending plot twists.
Exactly. I don't care about the story like that. I don't mind story, but if you're giving me a movie, I'm going to complain, because that's why I don't want to play any PlayStation exclusives or PlayStation made games, because they're using the same thing over and over and over again. It's starting to be tedious. You keep on giving me these movie-like graphics, which doesn't make a game, and I'm getting sick and tired of it.
They're bored. They're tired. They're working 2 jobs to barely scrape by while taking college classes. A lot of those people are like, I'm just going to play League of Legends. I don't care if it's a good patch or a bad patch. I just want to scrape by. Now,
so Sony need to make better games.
Nib made a huge, giant post.
Oh my
And essentially,
gosh.
his whole conclusion here is he's really breaking down like a lot of the bad assumptions about Paris's video, but he really just points out that
Wait.
bad.
PlayStation not putting games on PC will be a big mistake. I agree, because I'm going to tell you right now, if it's going to be a terrible day because you got people who play on PC, as soon as they see some anti-consumerism, the PC community will go to the PlayStation page and downvote a lot of shit and review bomb it.
Assumptions about Paris's video, but he really just points out that financially, Sony is in this spot right now where they made $30 billion
Golly.
with the PlayStation, right? Last fiscal year, PlayStation made 26 times more revenue and 7 times more profits. Again, their ecosystem taking a 30% cut is the moneymaker. PlayStation will literally get 30% of all Resident Evil Requiem sales without doing anything, and they were the one getting the cut over Steam. That's why they're scaling PC consoles back, because it gives people more incentive to buy a PS5 instead.
But the thing about it is, you're baking on people who play on PC to buy a PlayStation. Why do I need to buy? No. Like, for anybody that is for someone who's who is a PlayStation fanboy, tell me this: what's the point of me buying a PlayStation if I'm only going to play one game? Do y'all only care about console sales instead of me having an experience? Because if I only play one game and then the PlayStation sitting there collecting dust, I just wasted $500 or $700. And then you say, oh, you can sell it. For how much? 2? I still lost money. That's the part that you don't understand. What is there for me to do with a PlayStation if I don't care about exclusives? You're telling me that they're going to take back games, their single player games, where they all play the same. I can tell you this though. If I play Spider-Man and complete it, and I had to play The Last of Us, okay, I watched The Last of Us. There, I played it. Well, you didn't play it. It played like Spider-Man. God of War. Watch the cutscenes. I played it. But you didn't play it. I played Spider-Man. It's the same exact game. Please tell me where I'm wrong. You're a third person action adventure games with stealth element, puzzles that are pretty easy, that are movie-based games. Like, you can sit there and watch it on YouTube and have a full movie base. So tell me where I'm wrong in that. Oh, but it's a different story. No. You take away all the key things that made that game a little bit different. Like, take away the bow and arrow, take away the web slinging, take away the climbing up the wall, take away the axe from God of War. The main attacks that they use, and they just did cuffs. Same game. It's rinse and repeat. And the reason why they got you fooled is because it's a different story.
These numbers are undeniable, which is that Sony is just at a point where putting any games at all on PC, or if somehow they were like porting them to phones or something like that, it is a loss leader. And not only that, it becomes a cascade failure. Oh, now.
But they made money. They wouldn't have billions of dollars if they didn't put it on PC.
Now, more people are not going to know, hey, I have to buy a PlayStation 5. If I want to play any PlayStation game, I have to buy a PlayStation 5. As soon as you start to break that down even a little bit, oh, some Xbox games are coming. Okay, most Xbox games come. Okay, all Xbox games are coming to PlayStation 5. The slippier that slope gets, the more you kind of just get screwed by your own numbers in the long run.
So if most Xbox games, let's say all the Xbox games went over to PlayStation, you're going to say, what's the point of buying the Xbox? If they stop that, if they stop putting games over on PlayStation, are you still going to buy an Xbox to play their exclusives? No. You want to know why? Because you're a PlayStation fanboy. So what's the difference between me? Oh, the exclusive. I don't care about the exclusive. A lot of people that play on your platform don't care about the exclusive because it only sold like no more than 10, maybe 15, no more than 20 mil. Telling me that on your platform, even your platform, people don't care about exclusives. The most played game is like Madden, 2K, Xbox games, Call of Duty, Fortnite.
This has just been some off-the-cuff thoughts. How do you feel about it? Honestly, the anger about this to me is still rather baffling, but I guess I find the whole debate to be so interesting. Thanks so much for watching this video, gamer.
Oh, boy. On to number 3. PlayStation caught... I heard about this.
Hey there, gamers. DreamcastGuy here. Today we're talking about PlayStation because Sony just got caught doing something that is technically legal, but is very scummy, and very manipulative, which is basically there's been a months-long investigation.
Damn. Red Dead Redemption 2 Ultimate Edition from $99.99 to $19.99. Save 80%. And then the same price, in the same game, $14.99. How the fuck that happened? Please tell me, DreamcastGuy.
For a thing called dynamic pricing. They have discovered that the price that you're paying for games is literally being automatically tailored to get you to spend the most pennies possible. That basically, PlayStation is literally scanning your spending habits to see exactly how much you're willing to pay.
So the more money you spend, the more expensive the games become. Now, look, that is grimy. That is completely grimy. I give you 100% agree on that. And I want to say that it's one of the most grimiest things that a company could do. Although, those are for the real gamers. The PlayStation fanboys, I want to say this. Why are you complaining? Why are you complaining, PlayStation fanboys? You will give money to this corporation and don't even care about you. The dedication. And you know what? You're going to spend the money just to get the items because it's something that you do. PlayStation fanboys been saying, I'll give PlayStation more money if I need to. Well, guess what? Congratulations. You have this opportunity to give PlayStation, Sony, more money. This is what y'all want. And you know what? This is what y'all deserve. Don't get mad. Y'all should be cheering for this.
And I want to talk about this because a lot of people have discovered that some cases the price discounts are ridiculous. Like, it's so bizarre that this is technically legal, but it is. Let's take a look at the investigation and why people are saying this is why physical can never die. But
it's going to die. It's going to die. I don't like physical. I always been that type of person that don't like physical because I had to deal with a disc. But now since everything going over to like card base or having a M.2, if you put it on a SD card with more storage, I am 100% cheering for that type of physical. But if it's like a disc, I get rid of disc. it won't hold that much like a physical SD card. I'd rather have physical SD cards over disc any day.
Let's break it down. Hi, hope you're having a great day. If you could please give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Now, this was actually first discovered by a
Sony PlayStation Store have been testing the dynamic pricing on game varying price display for the same product to different people. A/B test on about 139 games across 68 regions with price differences between 5.3 to 17.9%. Tests only include price decrease, not price hike. So let me get this straight. They want to get more people to come to the store, so they make it cheaper for them. But then they make it more expensive because they know that you'll bootleg and spend more money in the store because you like to bootleg. And this is for the PlayStation fans. PlayStation fanboys. If you're a PlayStation fan, I'm sorry. You're a PlayStation fan boy, hey, y'all want to bootleg? There you go. Spend the extra money to get that game. Give PlayStation more money. Be a corporate sheep like you are, PlayStation fanboys.
website called PlayStation Deals, because what they decided to do is that they basically have hundreds of PlayStation accounts all over the world, and they're constantly just pinging the store and seeing, okay, how much is this game discounted? Which games are the best sellers? Which games have like a stacking discount where if you have like PlayStation Plus Premium, does it make the game like much, much cheaper? And they started to notice a weird, peculiar data set where basically sometimes some of the accounts that spent less money or maybe had less like transactional data, the games were getting cheaper and cheaper, whereas the games that were buying games, like the accounts that did buy brand new AAA stuff, the prices were going up.
It's called You're Such a Good Pony. Let me go ahead and have you spend more money because we know you're going to give it to us. Now, again, I'm always going to say, a PlayStation fan, I'm sorry, but a PlayStation fanboy, you got nothing to cry about. I do not want to see no PlayStation fanboy complaining about this.
Eventually thought, okay, we can milk you for even more because it seems like you can afford to kind of get ripped off. Sony's PlayStation Store has been testing dynamic pricing on games, varying prices displayed for the same product to same people. So A/B testing was done on about
Here you go, Chris, this one Dreamcast guy. When you go to the picture, go to the tweet, just read it.
139 games in 68 different regions with price differences between 5% to about 18%. Now, for the most part, a lot of this testing showed the prices were actually scaling down more than they were scaling up. But a lot of the fear about dynamic pricing is that it can go up. A lot of other companies that do dynamic pricing, it usually just jacks the cost up so much. Think about something like Uber, right? Have you ever taken an Uber downtown? You're going and drinking with your friends, you're being safe, and then you try to Uber home, and it goes, oh, well, now everybody's Ubering home. It may have cost you $20 to go meet with your friends, but suddenly that ride home is $60. That's because, oh, everybody's downtown. Oh, we have to charge you $3.
Yeah, no shit. But that's the difference between that and this is you want to get home. Getting home is necessary, especially when you're drunk. This right here is just entertainment.
Times as much because now there's a lot more demand. Now, this kind of stuff makes sense at times, but my fear is something like that, right? What if somebody makes a big viral video about PlayStation, I don't know, some sort of discounted game, say the original Final Fantasy VII, right? Okay, this game, maybe it costs $10. Everybody starts downloading it. PlayStation Store automatically detects this is a very, very profitable game, so they turn the price up to $12 or $15.
Yep. The terms and services y'all agreed on, you can't. Yo, this is the reason why I love PC gaming, because this will got a big backlash if it was on PC. If Steam did this, it would have been a big backlash. The fact that y'all always these fanboys always champion PlayStation and saying it can't do me no wrong. Let me give you more money. Let me spend more money on it because you gave me such a good a good product, Daddy. Yeah. I want to spend more money on your games. Please give me more money. Please let me give you more money. Yeah. It sucks being a fanboy for a corporation that you can't, that you can't call out because you sound like a hypocrite. Yeah, sure.
It's a system that seems crazy because it does seem kind of schemy. Like, look, I get it with something like Uber or DoorDash, I guess, right? There's only so many like actual man hours to deliver people, but it sucks when it comes to something digital where they are just straight up scamming you. In fact, some people are even pointing out in the evidence here, stuff like this. This guy actually pointed out, I was excited to finally purchase Red Dead Redemption. I checked it on my wife's account. My wife does not play much, so buying it on her account may not be the best decision, but this soured me about buying it quite a bit. Look at this. The game literally goes from $20 to $15. This is the $100 special edition. So you can see it's literally
Ultimate Edition, but continue.
the same price, the same day, it's everything, but it's literally cheaper if you buy it on an account that spends less money. Now, a lot of people...
Yeah, that's it. This is y'all Steam sale. This is the PlayStation fanboy Steam sale.
Are like, boo, PlayStation. These companies are hell-bent on eliminating physical games to force you into buying exclusively off their online store. A lot of the replies, especially tons of the quote tweets, are all about...
Here's the thing. I'm going to keep it real. For the fans, I feel bad. Because, you're not in this console war bulls crap that they are trying to champion. You're actually on here. You're trying to play games with your friends. You're trying to hang out with your friends. You don't care what device they play on. You just want to play. And then the fact that you bought games because guess what? PlayStation gave you a disc and discless version. So the only money you have was for the discless version. So you sat there, you went and got an SD card so you could go ahead and keep more games on there and then realize Sony just screws you over. That's fucked up. And they shouldn't be fucking you over for that. But for the fanboys, this is what y'all want.
Physical media. So when the microphone of my PlayStation 5 controller hears me talking trash and Sony raises the price of everything by 15%. Look at this tweet, by the way. Look at that. 2,000 likes in the first 10 minutes. People are actually mad about this. This is exactly why physical games are still a necessity. I have my own digital archive.
Well, the thing about it is you're still downloading the game. And like I said, in order to combat with the low storage on CDs, just put everything on an SD card.
Don't kid yourself. Right now, do you know the reason that physical games get cheaper? Like the actual reason for it. And it's because of supply and demand. They print, say, a couple million copies of a game. They sit around. The demand for it goes down. So the price of it goes down.
And here's something that I like to champion. Why don't PlayStation add another store on their platform so it could be competition and get places? I see. Because that would be dumb on them because they're going to be like, oh, no, you still got to go through our store first. Yeah.
Less people care about Red Dead Redemption. So as that fluctuation decreases, you can get it for a cheaper deal, right? Very obvious, right? So I bought this for $30 right before the next gen patch came out for Nintendo Switch 2. And digitally, this game was still $50. I got it for a lot cheaper. No, actually, you know what? I remember. I got this for $25. I got it for way cheaper.
So let me get this right. You're happy about spending less money on the game. So you're a big ass hypocrite. You want to champion PlayStation for being on their platform to sell their games because they're losing money. But you sit there and you got the game for the Switch for $30. Physical or not, why are you not paying $60 for Red Dead Redemption? Or $50 for Red Dead Redemption? Why are you not giving Nintendo more money? They losing more money because the game was cheaper and they have to go through a store, meaning they still got to give like a certain 30% to the store in order to keep the game on their platform. But yet, you are okay for Sony to stop exclusives. I mean, their exclusive games to be on other platforms because of the money situation. But you sitting here telling me that you spent $30 on a game for the Switch and it was $50 in the store. So meaning that you couldn't go ahead and sit there and give the creator of Red Dead Redemption and Nintendo their half. Big ass hypocrite, telling you the truth.
I remember that when I got it, I was super happy, and it's because it just doesn't have that same demand. It was
so when you give that $20 to the corporation.
Like if, you know, the next gen patch comes out, they see everybody's downloading it, and dynamic pricing takes a $40 game and bumps it up to $50. It's such a scummy process. This is blatantly anti-consumer design and needs to be banned yesterday. There have been
Sony is not pro-consumer. They always been anti-consumer. Yeah, they made some pro-consumer here and there to get all the bad vibes off of them, but they're anti-consumerism. They're a bad company. They don't care about your pro-consumerism. They care about trying to make as much money as possible.
A lot of lawsuits specifically about basically I think it was Instacart. They found out that it was basically scanning and seeing how broke you were. If you were just eating like rice and beans and barely alive, it was charging you less, whereas if you were getting like, I don't know, high quality Wagyu beef, I don't even know what expensive groceries are, it would actually make your entire cart more expensive. This has been extensively proven, even though
yeah, that's a piece of shit. I agree, but let's keep it real. They're a company too.
Instacart is currently denying it. They are being sued for that. In fact, the thing is that I want to go through the evidence, but the thing about this that I think we need to keep in mind is that our brains are unfortunately still very susceptible to manipulation, right? We're not some grand supercomputers. We are still people. We are still
the only company that I would say is pro-consumer is Valve. Yeah, Valve and GOG is pro-consumer. It's pro-consumerism. The fact that one dude saying this is anti-consumerism, well, no shit, it's Sony. It's Sony. Like, let's keep it 100% real. Like, you're going to sit there and say, oh, congratulations, Captain Obvious. You just said something that we already knew. Like, you complain about Sony being anti-consumerism. Not you, but the dude. And us PC people is like, no shit.
Reacting to the data that goes in. I read a lot of books about human mentality and how brains work and stuff like this. Algorithms.
Damn, you read a book, DreamcastGuy, about the anatomy of brain and how it works? Let me ask you a question. How's that brain with the Sony fanboyism?
To live by, what computer science teaches us about human decisions. And it's interesting that in a lot of ways, we are so prone to basically easily being tricked. A 95% discount on something you don't even need, you're 10 times more likely to buy it, you know?
So how about this? I know. So DreamcastGuy, how about this? Okay. Instead of like jumping into the water with that, why don't you start being more skeptical about different things? Why is it cheaper? Like, ask questions. Be like the question from DC. Ask questions. You know, reason why I remember the question is Ace Vane. He do voices, and he did the question. So, you know, how about if I ask you some questions?
If a game, even if a game costs, I don't know, $10 and they do a 90% discount and it's $1, you want to buy it, not because you want to play it that bad. It's 90% off. Oh, it's
No. I'm going to do my research if the game is good, because Sony don't want to give you refunds. So I'm going to do my research, see if I'm going to enjoy it. If I enjoy it, I might buy it and enjoy it, because guess what? With Sony, you got one chance. And you download it, you can't return it, because they treat digitals like physicals.
$1. And it sucks that a lot of these companies have realized that a lot of people will, if you discount it enough, even if the discount is fake, they increase the total price and decrease the output costs, people still are susceptible to that level of manipulation. Look at it. PlayStation appears to be testing
Then start asking questions.
personalized sales that will show discounts tailored to the user viewing them. Dynamic pricing and revenue model has been companies will switch up the cost of an item for different users. These changes are dependent on a variety of factors like purchase hit.
Oh yeah. Also, you wanted to compare the dynamic pricing for like stores like that sell food. The price change for everybody when it comes down to food. They're not going to like the line lock it up like this and say, can I see your ID? Oh, your name's Q? Your name's Sendou Q? Yeah, it's going to cost like $80. $80 for a 10 piece? Dude, why? Oh, can I see your ID? Oh, your name is Kim? Yeah, it's going to cost $2. Wait, how come she paying $2 for a 10-piece meal, but I'm paying like 80? Yeah, depends on you. You've been to the store so many times that it went up. No, you're talking about dynamic, meaning it dynamically worked for everybody. This is selectively increasing the price and lowering the price for who went in the store and paid. And okay. I'm not about conspiracy theories, okay? I'm not about conspiracy theories, so listen up. Why do you think Sony in the UK get your information with the pictures and everything? Because they know who you are. So they got all the information in their databases, right? And since they got their information in the database, they know who you are. So if you go into the store with your information, they know who you are. Imagine if they put cameras on the PlayStation 5 and you say, in order for you to buy a game, you need to set up a webcam, and they make more webcams for the PlayStation, and they know who you are just by the webcam. And they say, oh, so you're on this person's account, but we see you're in front of the webcam. Okay, how about this? We increase the price for you since you use your friend account and you're trying to buy the game. The price should remain the same regardless. Exactly, I agree. But I think that's the reason why they making sure they get your ID. Just, I'm not trying to do conspiracy theories, but damn, I might have to cosplay as a question one day. Hold up. Because the question is all about conspiracy theories, right? I might have to do that. I might have to dress up as a question. I might cosplay as a question. Like when there's a convention, I might cosplay as a question. I might do that. That might be fire. I might cosplay as a question. That's actually kind of sick. I'm not gonna lie. That might be sick. I might cosplay as a question because all these questions have to happen.
History, location, inventory, demand, time of day, weather, and income level. This is one of the things people have talked about. Some of the testing showed that in some areas where people were buying like a lot of microtransactions or something like that, if it was a rainy day and everybody was stuck inside, sometimes the prices would go up like...
I know. If you think about it, because if they're raising the... I don't like conspiracy theories, but think about it. In the UK, you have to send a picture of your face to what's called. That's why Valve was fighting against the UK about privacy when it comes down to pictures, and they found a loophole. God damn. Holy shit. Imagine that. Imagine they say, okay, you need to have a camera, because nobody's not buying the camera for the PlayStation. I know they got them stacked. Damn. Okay, now I'm interested. Now I'm interested in it. Hold up. Oh, I gotta check it out. Hold up. I gotta check it out. Hold up. Hold up. How much is it? I'm just going by shopping. Hell no. That can't be the... No. It's $69.99? 1080p, built-in stand, background removal tool, $69.99, and it didn't drop? So imagine Sony haven't sold that many of these cameras. In order to go in the store in the UK, you got to have this camera in order to buy something, right? And a lot of people got the PlayStation discless version, right? So they have no choice but to go onto the PlayStation Store, right? To go to the PlayStation Store to buy the game. But in order for you to buy the game, you got to get the PlayStation 5 HD camera. Or they could go ahead and buy a disc version, but then after they get the disc version, they could go ahead and place in for a picture to make sure that the disc go into it, right? So that's another $80. So you spent like a lot of money just for that, right? So after they spend a lot of money for that, they go ahead and have you take a picture where they know they're going to match with the ID. If you go to somebody else's PlayStation and you have to take a picture, guess what? It doesn't work. So they got different variables. And then after that, raise the price or lower the price. Just think about it. Ooh, that's kind of scary. I'm not going to lie to you about that. That's kind of scary. That's kind of freaky. Not going to lie to you, because there's so much they could do with that, and it's so grimy.
2 or 3% because they knew they could get away with it. Though controversial, dynamic pricing and surge pricing has been used in a variety of industries, from grocery stores to the housing market. The price discrepancies can be a huge wide range, or they could be minor depending on the industry. But even so, it's a matter of a few cents. Companies who use pricing models like this bank on the long-term benefits of screwing you over. Now look at this. A website called PlayStation Prices has been...
You know what goes up and down all the time? Gas.
Tracking the number of Sony's access to digital platforms. In an update to its research, they said they detected unusual offer structures containing experiment identifiers while monitoring the PlayStation Store's basic programming. And what's interesting is that stuff like this, right? Games, including first-party games, God of War Ragnarok and The Last of Us Part 2, the program allegedly includes 139 games, and the prices would go up or down between 5% and 18%. Notably, the test only included price decreases, not price hikes. Also, this experiment also...
So what they're saying is, if the game is $20, but you don't go in the PlayStation Store all the time, the game could become $10 for that person.
did not occur in the United States. Okay, Sony did not immediately...
And plus, they'll lose a lot of money to it too. So think about it. You got to think about it like, I hate to say this, but think about it. If the loyalist people, and this is why I think when it comes out to like physical games and stuff, where physical should be more expensive while on the PlayStation Store it should be cheaper, because a lot of people is not going to buy the physical and they're going to go with the cheaper, which is online. This is basically the same logic. So for the people that spent more money on PlayStation, they're going to get the $20 game. I'm just using $20 game for it. But for the people who don't be in the PlayStation Store, they're paying less money than the people that usually go there. So imagine that role reverse. Who will buy physical copies? Who will buy physical copies? Because guess what? More time that you spend in the PlayStation Store, the cheaper the game is. And the cheaper the game is, no more physical copy. They literally will kill physical copies if it was the other way around. They will literally, because here's the thing. I always say this. And I'm going to make myself bigger. Like this is me actually thought about this. When back in the day, when they invented the car took time to take out the horse and buggy. So the horse and buggy was obsolete when cars was invented. Now there's people out there who want to ride a horse and buggy. And you know what they do? They go to the stable. Excuse me. And that's how I feel electric cars going to go into the mix. Everybody's going to be driving electric cars in the future. I don't know when, but I know because even my sister saying that she don't want to drive. She'd rather have the electric car drive for herself. We're not at that point, but when we get to that point, there's going to be people who are going to take more self-driving cars. And for the people that want to drive the cars, that want the feeling of driving, well, there's a track, like a horse and buggy. So I see it as that when it comes down to digital and physical. If they gave discount for people going into the store, PlayStation killed the physical market. And how I see it is, I love physical. I mean, not physical. I love digital, but I understand where physical come in. But for the people that want the physical copies, they can still buy the physical copy, but a lot of people want that convenience of not having a physical copy and just download it. But you still got people that are going to buy it. Now, if PlayStation gave the discount to loyal customers, then a lot of people will realize like, oh, so you telling me I could go to the PlayStation Store and spend more money in the PlayStation Store where I could get a discount after buying three games in the PlayStation Store, the price go down even more. That's a better deal, and I don't need to go to the store to buy more physical copies. PlayStation will be killing physical copies on their own. I'm not saying this is a good idea, but they be killing their own physical copy, and they can't say Xbox killed the physical market. So they have to give the games and the discount for people who don't be in the store. I'm just saying.
Respond to comment. But in addition to dynamic pricing, the PlayStation Store has been found to display personalized discounts for users. One example cited by PlayStation Prices was in Helldivers 2, where the extraction shooter appeared to have two different sale prices. Some users said the game was a 25% discount, while others were treated to a 56% discount.
And that's me explaining it while I'm like halfway asleep.
So this to me is extra wild, because to me, it almost feels like when a game is popular, like Helldivers 2, say Helldivers 2 comes out with a giant patch and you want to buy it, all your friends are going to buy it. It would be weird if, the price goes up. I guess that's my thing more than anything else. It's not just the manipulation. It's not just that these companies are just so obsessively, endlessly greedy.
No, because if they did the other way around to people who are loyal to PlayStation, they will literally lose physical copies. Because guess what? A lot of, just like you buying the Nintendo Switch game of of Red Dead Redemption for $30. You saw it on the eShop for $50. You went with the cheaper option, physical or not. You went with the cheaper option. Since you went with the cheaper option, you save money. So if they gave discounts for loyal customers, you just killed physical copies. And Sony did it. Because you don't want to spend $70 on games, just like PC players don't want to spend $70 on games. That's how we do it. That's how I figured it out. That's how you do it. Because if they drop down the price for loyal customers, they're going to lose physical copies. And then you're going to be like this, well, why Sony got rid of the physical copies? Because they gave you discounts.
I gotta admit that 80% of my annoyance is just the fact that I don't like the idea that they can just literally tune a knob to rip you off.
And people think of it as, and I'm just here, I'm not on Sony's side, but I'm actually thinking of it as a logical thing, because there will be no more physical copies for Sony. If loyal customers get cheaper by going into the store, there will be no more physical copies from Sony. No more physical copy for Sony. I'm dead ass serious. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just thinking logical.
It's not even a person. It's not even a marketing team making a decision. It's literally just an algorithm saying, sorry, buddy, we discovered that you can pay more, so you will pay more.
No, they see how many times you go into the store, and if they gave you the discount, everybody's going to find that loophole. AKA, it's not Sony killing the physical market. It's the Sony fanboys and Sony players. They be killing the physical market.
I buy a lot of games full price day one to review them, to play them. I love getting the platinum trophies and stuff like that. And
yeah, but if it was discounted because you be on that store multiple times, you will not have physical copies.
I think it does kind of suck about the idea.
AKA, you spent less money on a physical copy of Red Dead Redemption, but I'll guarantee you right now, if it was $20 on the Switch, it was $30. I mean, on digital for the Switch, if it was physical copy at $30, I guarantee you buy the digital copy of the Switch.
In a way, I'm being punished. Oh, sorry, you like buying games?
AKA Steam sales.
Well, you're going to pay a hell of a lot more. Whereas somebody that's new to...
Exactly like Steam sales, because everybody usually wait for the Steam sale, like summer Steam sales, all that stuff, to get games cheaper.
Who's just coming to it, prices go down. I think not only should prices be universal, I'm still very much in that camp.
I don't think it should be very universal. I think digital copies should be cheaper. If the copy is sold on their own creator store, it should be cheaper. PlayStation should not have $70 games in their store. It should be at least $50, $40. Same thing with Microsoft. No $80, $70 games. It should be about $40, $50. Same thing with Steam. It should be $40, $50. But if you're selling your game on that platform, different story.
I feel like games should get a lot cheaper, a lot faster. I feel like after 6 months, after a year, I think stuff should get significant, drastic discounts. The fact that everything feels like it's getting more and more and more.
No, it should be right off the rip.
Expensive. There has been all that data by Michael Pachter and all the people at Cessna that like crazy low amounts, like literally 9 to 12% of all gamers are basically spending 99% of the profit on the industry. Like 99% of gamers are buying basically zero new games.
I think when it comes down to the PlayStation Store, Horizon should not be $70. It should be $40 to $50. God of War should not be $70. It should be $40 to $50. I'm dead serious, because if it's on their store, should not cost more than that.
And it seems like these companies are just trying to find a way to milk the people actually spending cash for any additional pennies they can rattle out. How do you feel about the idea of dynamic pricing, and how do you feel about this? I mean, this is what a lot of people in the comments are pointing out, the fact that, look, man, this is why we need Xbox, right? This is why we need Xbox, because if Sony is just ruling this place by themselves, they're absolutely going to get as evil.
I guarantee you, if they did the other way, Sony fanboys going to be like, the PlayStation better. The depth of Xbox, PlayStation better, because if you've been on their platforms for this long, you get a better discount. Yeah, I could see it. I could definitely fucking see it.
As humanly possible. Tell me your thoughts in the comments down below. If you could, please give this video a...
Nah, I'm good. Wait, PlayStation hate PC gamers. Okay. I think this is it.
Hey there, gamers. DreamcastGuy here. Today we're talking about a very strange leak that has just come out about PlayStation. Now, pretty much every major source, from Digital Foundry to Sneaker SO to Jason Schreier himself, is apparently claiming...
I think I watched this already. Give me a second. I'm about to go ahead and get to my spot. But that's what I think, for real. Like, that's just something like I had to think about, because it's like I have to think about that. Okay, let's see if I can find it. Oh, that was it. Wait, hold up. PlayStation 5, give up on PC. Oh, here it goes. Okay. Here we go. God dang. Hold up. Jeez. All right. This will be the last one, and I'm about to head off.
Hey there, gamers. DreamcastGuy here. Today we're talking about PlayStation, because there have been some rumblings for the last couple days that apparently Sony wants to take their games off of Steam, that there's been this light multi-platform strategy going.
Okay. Hold on 1 second. Linda Cage? Who the fuck is Linda Cage? Sorry, I have like, hold up. Who is Linda Cage? I don't know who that is, but let's continue. Dang it.
On with a lot of the big console makers, right? Xbox games are coming to PlayStation. We see a lot of stuff where you see some companies that did have exclusivity contracts. Now they're putting stuff on multiple platforms, but this feels different. Sony was at least testing the waters of putting their single player big stuff like Spider-Man and God of War, putting it onto PC. And it sounds like it went really bad.
It didn't. They make money. Here's the thing. You want to know what's really bad? If they place it on PC and nobody bought it. All that man work hours and everything and not make a single dime. Yeah, I think that's worse.
Really bad, in fact. So there's a new big report that just came out from Jason Schreier at Bloomberg, saying that apparently this was hurting the console permanently. The games weren't even selling on PC, apparently. It's multifaceted. Now, I just want to put in my 2 cents before we break down the news and the tons of reactions, because people are actually straight up mad about this. But I'm still very much in the camp that exclusives matter. Like, if you're a console...
It doesn't matter, because here's the thing. A lot of people don't care about it, especially me. I don't care. I want people to play games on any platform, no matter what. What really should... Like, if it comes down to exclusive... The exclusives should be, what can your hardware do that my hardware can't? Like, what make the Xbox very attractive to me is the quick resume. The quick resume make me want to get the Xbox over the PlayStation, because I could play 5 games and they could be hanging in the background where I could switch from games to game. To me, that's more attractive than the PlayStation. I don't care about the games, because guess what? I could go ahead and play a lot of single player games and hop back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Just keeping it real.
Manufacturer, you're trying to get people to specifically buy a PlayStation 5, or if you're trying to get people to buy an Xbox Series X, or of course something like a Nintendo Switch. If I want to play Pokemon, well, I have to have a Nintendo Switch.
Nope. And that's Pokemon Fire Red or Leaf Green. I could bring my phone out. Emulations.
Have to actually buy this thing. I may not be happy with the price tag or some features, but if I want to play the...
And that's the reason why I say exclusive sucks. Let's go back and replay that.
5, or if you're trying to get people to buy an Xbox Series X, or of course something like a Nintendo Switch. If I want to play Pokemon, well, I have to have a Nintendo Switch. I have to actually buy this thing. I may not be happy.
So let me get this straight, Dreamcast guy. You have to buy a Nintendo Switch to play Pokemon. A Nintendo Switch to play Pokemon. So you have to spend over $500 to play one game. Do you see where we're coming from? Why you should pay? Why should you pay over $500 to play a game that could basically run on my cell phone right here? You should be able to go ahead and buy the game on your preferred platform to play a game. Why are you locked down to buy another piece of hardware where you're just going to play one game? That's the part that you don't understand. Why do I have to buy a $500 console to play a game? That's a waste of money. And that's what we're trying to tell you. But yet you accept it. And that's why we hate fanboys like yourself.
With a price tag or some features, but if I want to play those games, I have to get that platform. I think exclusives, whether you like them, whether you hate them, I still think they are very important to selling systems.
No, if I want to buy a Switch, it's because of what kind of hardware does. I understand the Switch was super underpowered, but you're telling me at the time, I could put it on the TV, pull it out if I want to go somewhere. I could go ahead and play against another person without bringing extra controllers. I could do all of that. That was innovation to me. And yes, other handheld PCs came out that could do it better. And then ever since Nintendo Switch 2 came out and it was so anti-consumerism, I didn't buy the Switch 2 because of that. I don't care about the games. I care about what am I getting and if it hold up to what I believe in. And guess what? Nintendo Switch failed. Nintendo Switch 2 failed at that. To me, I'm always going to say the Nintendo Switch is way better than the Switch 2 because of the more freedom I have over the Switch 2. Xbox, to me, is better than PlayStation because of the quick resume. I don't care about the graphics. I don't care about the exclusive. What can the other console do that this console can't do?
So to me, this does make sense. But let's take a look at the rationale of Sony, because it sounds like they're more vengeful than I imagined. It sounds like they're actually even canceling the games that are currently almost done for PC and just saying, scrap it. Let's get into it. Hi, hope you're having a great day. If you could please give this video a like and
day and date with Xbox. So you tell me I could play games that just released on the Xbox on my PC?
subscribe
either buying it or Game Pass.
Now, what's interesting is that this will still have multi-platform games. Some stuff like their live service, Marathon, Marvel's Tokon, which is obviously that upcoming sort of fighting game they're working on and stuff like that. This kind of stuff very much is built on the community, is on, hey, we need seasons of players filling up servers, basically doing microtransactions and stuff. The live service stuff will still be multi-platform, but I almost think that even that kind of stuff is probably going to be PC multi-platform. I just can't imagine those games are going to be coming to Xbox. I mean,
You know what's sad? You say you care about the games, right? You care about the games, but yet you want people to experience the game on a certain platform. So you're trying to force people to buy the platform in order to experience it. If they don't like it, guess what? They're shit out of luck to buy a system to play the game. You telling me like, hey, this is this game I want you to play. Oh, what game is it? Ghost of Yote? Oh, cool. Hey man, I didn't find it on Steam. Yeah, because the place is exclusive. So you telling me I gotta spend $500 on a PlayStation to play Ghost of Yote? Yeah. Why do I have to spend over $500 to play a certain game? Well, to sell the console. But I just want to play Ghost of Yote. Yeah, you gotta get the console. But why do I need to have a console in order to play one game? That sounds like it's a waste of money. Just sell the console. But at the same time, I could just have it on my PC. No, because it's a PlayStation exclusive. So I got to spend over $500 to play one game because they can't put it on PC, but Xbox could put their exclusives on PC, where I don't have to waste my money just to play. I only could spend $30 just to play a good amount of games for a month. I mean, $30 is still a lot of money, but just $500 to play one game compared to playing $30 to play one game?
The line, right? Here's the other thing though. Online games will still be released on multiple platforms. Single player games like Ghost of Yote and Saros, will remain a PlayStation 5 exclusive. Now, they said straight up that it's two separate things at once. Games like Saros and Ghost of Yote will stay PS5 exclusive, even though apparently these were pretty much ready to go. There have been some leaks that Saros and Ghost of Yote, I think Ghost of Yote was already even announced for PC. It sounds like they're just canon that.
On the PC,
there are several reasons. Some games did not sell well. Releasing games on PC could damage the brand. And this, I think, is probably...
I agree. It will damage the brand because a lot of people will go ahead and protest of Sony, meaning, oh, you're not putting on the game on PC. Why would I go ahead and buy any more of your games?
The biggest thing of all, right? Which is that Sony is selling crazy amounts of PlayStation 5. The PS5 is already about to hit 100 million units sold.
Congratulations.
Now, of course, this is still technically like 3 or 4% behind the PlayStation 4, but the PS4 is one of the biggest systems ever. So saying you're 4% behind...
Hot take. PlayStation 4 overrated.
One of the biggest systems of all time. That's still pretty dang.
You can't play PlayStation 3 games, PlayStation 2 games, PlayStation 1 games. So the whole entire collection you have that you collect from PlayStation 2, and PlayStation 3, you can't play on your PlayStation 4. The fact you had to pay for online services while the PlayStation 3 you didn't have to pay. The fact that they actually put thought into the game instead of giving you a movie until The Last of Us came out on PlayStation 3, then that was the end of the term. The fact that they gave you options on the PlayStation 3, PlayStation 2, and the PlayStation more than the PlayStation 4. You can have the old school PlayStation 3 and they had more features than the PlayStation 4. And for what? $200 less? So you tell me for $200 less, I get like an SD card reader, which actually would have helped out the PlayStation 4 so you could put games on an SD card. But they took that out. The fact that you could go ahead and play PlayStation 2 games on a PlayStation 3 instead of PlayStation 4, that was a winner. Music. I think the music player was on the PlayStation 4. Not sure. But yeah, I think the PlayStation 4 was overrated.
Good, especially because I mean, let's face it, there's not that many Sony exclusives. Carrie, like, how crazy was the PlayStation 4 generation? It was just literally exclusive, exclusive, exclusive. Literally every week there was some new crazy big game, right?
It was the third-person action adventure games with stealth elements. It was the same exclusive like the next one and next one and next one. That's why I don't like PlayStation exclusive, because you keep on giving me the same thing over and over again. It's insanity.
It does seem like it's wild how much the PS5 is keeping up despite having such a slower cadence of exclusives. But people are pointing out the fact that exclusives do matter. People need a reason to buy a console. As much as people value multi-platform gaming, they agree.
You think I got the Nintendo Switch 2 just because of exclusives? No, because it does something that the other consoles didn't. I didn't care about the exclusives. I could play the Nintendo Switch nonstop doing something different than what the other console did. Like, I would say this. I didn't, like, when I got the Nintendo Switch, I got the Splatoon 2 bundle, right? Yeah, it came with it. Cool, whatever. But I was playing Street Fighter. I was playing Tetris Puyo Puyo Pop. I was playing a whole bunch of third-party games, and Splatoon 2 was the only first-party game that came with the Switch in the bundle that I play now and then. But I was playing mostly third-party games. And people was like, oh, the Nintendo Switch is weak. Why are you not playing it on the PC or anything? You guys could take it with me? Yeah, it's weak, but the PC can't do this. And this is before gaming PC handhelds was a thing.
Deep down, considering how much PS5 has no games is a long-standing meme on here. Now, Twitter specifically does love having this joke where anytime somebody posts a picture like posing with their PlayStation 5 or holding a PS5 controller and stuff, people go,
oh, so you admit that you do the same shit.
Notice they're not playing games. That's like a big meme. And people,
yeah, because they're playing Twitter. I saw more PlayStation fanboys playing on Twitter than anything else. When a new game come out for Xbox, I don't see Xbox fans. But when a new game for Twitter come out, I'm going to take a picture. That's all they do. Maybe because the story mode is only like, I don't know, 10 hours.
People are basically saying, okay, I guess Sony starts to realize, all right, that sort of joking does hurt a system. Now, some of y'all may be too young to remember this, but Sony released a system called the PlayStation Portable. The PSP way back in the day.
Oh, let me tell you about the PlayStation Portable. My brother owned a PlayStation Portable, right? I had the Nintendo DS. He owned the PlayStation Portable. I owned the Nintendo DS Lite. I owned the Nintendo DS and the Nintendo DS Lite, right? I kind of broke my Nintendo DS because I kind of want to know how the inside of it work, and I kind of messed it up. But I got the Lite. And my brother got the PlayStation Portable, right? He dropped his PlayStation Portable and it shattered. That's when I say PlayStation cannot make any tough items. And that pushed me even further away from owning a PlayStation, because if that happened, I cannot deal with it. Nope. To me, the PlayStation Portable was not a tough system.
Extremely fun device. I was obsessed with the PSP. I think I still have mine on my desks.
And the funny thing about it is, it was brand new. He had the strap and everything. He just placed it on the table. It fell off. He placed it on a bench. I'm sorry. It fell off, hit the concrete, shattered. After seeing that, I'm good, because that happened to my Switch Lite, and the Switch Lite was working just fine. His shattered, screen shattered, everything. Never again. And mine was bare naked case. Okay? It was that tough. To me, that's why I have a case on my phone, even though I don't drop my phone. Anything like that, that's like glass and everything, I can't deal with.
Somewhere here, but
even
the
though it's made out of
PSP
plastic,
had
I can't
the
deal with
bad
it.
sort of stink on it of PSP got no games. In fact, it had a ton of them, but just because everybody kept saying it's got no games, it basically killed the console.
Here's the thing when you say it had no games. Because you do this with Xbox, and Xbox did with you during the PlayStation 3. What exclusive games you had? Because Nintendo had plenty.
Basically, people didn't want to buy it because even though it did have a huge set of amazing games, both ports and originals, a lot of people just didn't want to buy a system where everybody's saying it's got no games. And people saying that about Sony of, oh, we don't even care, go ahead and skip PC. So they are, because they want to really get people back on track of, yes, we do have games, maybe not as many as PlayStation 4, but please still buy a PlayStation 5.
The fact that a company tell me to buy a PlayStation 5 if I own a PlayStation 4, I'm going like, nah, I'm going with the PC, because you can't force me to buy something. You can't force me to buy something that I don't care. And me, I don't care about any corporation, because here's the thing. I do it with the Xbox. I do it with the PlayStation. I did with Nintendo. Oh, Nintendo say, oh, you can't mod nothing. Oh, really? Then I'm not buying you. I don't have legion when it comes down to corporations. I was like, you can't tell me what to do. And you tell me what to do? Mm-mm. You tell me to buy a PlayStation 5 or the place and get rid of PlayStation 4. Now I'm going to PC.
It's clear that this is a very sudden and significant change within PlayStation. The fact they decided to cancel Ghost of Yotei and Sorrow's PC ports is very telling. Someone inside of Sony decided it's time to go back to the way they've done it for 4 generations straight. And this really is the big, huge...
Excuse me. Yeah, I don't like when a corporation told me what to do. If you tell me I had to buy a PlayStation 5 because you want more people to get on a PlayStation 4, you're done.
Thing, right? Which is that historically, especially...
And plus, if this is true, that's even making me more done.
Especially back on like the original PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2, a lot of people made stuff on PlayStation exclusive, not even for contractual reasons. A lot of times it was just such a hot seller. Things just sold so fast, so instantly, so much that having that only on PlayStation logo a lot of times would actually increase sales. But now that the PC market is growing so much, PC gaming has honestly gotten easier, faster, better than ever.
I can tell you this. It's getting old. It's literally getting old. You want to go ahead and keep this console war continuing, but the only people that continue these console wars are the people that went to the console wars back in the day with Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis. When I was there, broke man, I couldn't picture this 50-inch screen, money green leather sofa. Oh my gosh, hold on. Holy shit. Is when we was growing up back during the Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis era, and we want that era to keep on going. So the people that was console warring back then, yes, we was kids, but now we're grown as adults, and y'all still console warring. The people that's don't caring about the console wars are the kids. Matter of fact, the kids are trying to make money so they could become rich later on down the line. So you know what they could get? A PC. What a console going to do that a PC can't do? And remember, the features. I can make money off my PC. And I'm not talking about streaming. I can actually do stocks. I can actually go ahead and learn to trade. I could do more things with my PC and get a job that the PlayStation can't do.
I do see that some people are basically saying like, okay, it does seem odd if you're only in one camp. If you don't own a PlayStation 5, maybe it feels weird to not be putting stuff on PC because to you, your whole bubble is PC, right? Y'all joked way too much about PS5 not having games. Now look what happened. End of an era.
I don't think my bubble is PC. It's just I get more freedom with PC because check this out. I could switch over to Linux because of Microsoft. And guess what? I got the hardware to do it.
I guess now PS5 games will truly only be on PS5 seemingly forever. Now, I have seen some people sort of saying this is a mistake. I've seen it in a lot of replies here. A lot of these
It is because I don't think you understand how... Remember the Helldiver situation? They're trying to force us to download the PlayStation app so we could count how many people are playing. Do you not remember that situation? So if they take PlayStation games off the platform, what do you think people are going to do? Sometimes you got to read history to remember it so you don't repeat it.
Applies, really. They love making decisions that cost them money. It's really a gift they have. It was nice having PS5 games on PC while it lasted. A lot of people are like, well, other people are putting games on PC and they're selling better than ever. Capcom says 50% of its sales are from PC.
The current landscape of building PC is really damn expensive. I agree. It is expensive because of the RAM crisis. Like, I remember back in the day, I built PCs for $500. $500, $700. It was the whole point of having the PC building for like $500 to $700. If these consoles had any goodwill left, they would bring back other OS. I agree. Here's the thing. Like, these consoles are running AMD APUs, right? They're running AMD APUs. And with Sony, they're running a server-based Linux operating system. Yes, they're running a server-based Linux operating system. They could literally go ahead and make an emulator for PlayStation 2, and PlayStation 3 games. They have the cash. Because if you have Xbox, where you could go ahead and put the disc in of a 360 or a regular Xbox into the Xbox Series X, you could play the game. And yes, I understand there's a certain amount of games. I get that part, but you still could put the game into it. It's to a point where Sony don't even let you play CDs. And I'm not talking about like CDs like DVDs, CD like compact disc where they play music. You can't even download the app. While with Xbox, you could download the app and play CDs. So it's crazy that you have Sony who could go ahead and have people who have a collection of the PlayStation 5. I'm not PlayStation 5. The collection of the PlayStation 2, and PlayStation 3. They could have made the PlayStation 5 backwards compatible. Because if these ARM chips, these are PC ARM, not ARM chip. These are Ryzen APUs. Pretty sure our PC3 is open source. All the work is done. Exactly. Why do you think people who buy PlayStation? I know some people who bought a PlayStation 5 just to download Linux on it. I'm like, that's a perfect way. But no, like, honestly, they could go ahead and do it. They just chose not to, because think about it. If you collected the games like PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, like throughout your life, because I'm 39. I know people who still have collections of their PlayStation 2. Those hardware is going to go old. If they made it backwards compatible, that would be a win. That would have been an automatic win, but they didn't. It's sad.
They accept that number to increase. So this is a huge number. I mean, just today, they actually announced that the Resident Evil Requiem is already...
And I'm going to keep it real. If they made the PlayStation 5 backwards compatible, it would have been worth it. It would have been worth it. Backwards compatible on the PlayStation 5 all the way to the PlayStation would have been worth it. Exactly. It would have been worth it, because I can guarantee you right now, it would have already had like 120 million console sales. Guarantee you. Because you got people that have it. Because if people complain about preservation, especially the fanboys, and they even think about their old games, and their excuse is, we don't play old games, then you don't care about preservation. You don't. Xbox care more about preservation than Sony, because at least Xbox go back to the Xbox One, the Xbox 360, and the original Xbox. Yes, not all games, but at least a good amount of games. And then with the PC, emulation, whatever you got to do, boom. We could rip CDs and have the file on the PC for preservation, if you care about preservation. Nintendo, they could have gave us they could have gave us the games in the App Store for like $5, but they don't care. Nintendo greedy anyways.
They sold 5 million copies, so it is weird to think that 2.5 million of that, roughly, is probably coming to PC. That's a huge, huge number. So some people are saying, okay, if this has only been on PlayStation.
Exactly, the Xbox is trying. That's why if I had to choose between the Xbox and the PlayStation, like, hold on one second, I'll show you. And this is the only Xbox game I have. I'll show you. Give me 1 second. Like, this will make me go ahead and buy the Xbox because I could play Reach. Yes, I could play on my PC, but I do have the disc. And I could play All Pro Football 2K8. So you're telling me that the PlayStation cannot do that? The PlayStation can't do that. That sucks. Like, to me, that's trash. If I can't play those games on the PlayStation to me is worthless. Yeah, I know.
On Nintendo Switch, if I'm on Xbox, that would have sold 2.5 million copies. People are sort of doing that third-party math and sort of reverse engineering it to Sony, when very obviously these people are just wrong. I don't know how these tweets get so many likes. This is just such a apples and oranges comparison. I think this is really just more of a statement about, honestly, how successful Capcom is.
Yeah, they could make a PlayStation 2 classic, and yeah, it's greedy. But the fact of if you have a collection, the classic does make sense in my opinion. Like, if you have a collection and you can't play your PlayStation 2 games on that classic, it's not worth it. Because you're spending more money on something that you can't play on the classic.
It's becoming, and how good their marketing is and how good their games are. But PlayStation 5 users right now, I used to pray for times like this. PlayStation, we need to go back to single player games, and OG PlayStation is back. A lot of this, people are.
I think they got short-term memory when it comes down to, hey, remember when PlayStation did Helldivers where you had to log in and all the PC people got irritated and they downvoted that? I don't remember that. Hope it doesn't happen again.
Really, I'm surprised by the amount of people that are really celebrating this. I'm not even saying that they're like wrong to do so, but it is interesting that it does feel like there is this.
Mighty Keith. I used to like Mighty Keith until he started to show his true colors. How are people championing this? Okay. It's like, I could tell you. I could definitely tell you. Okay. I'm a Knicks fan. And I grew up in the 90s, okay? Late 80s, early 90s. I'm a Knicks fan. I always wanted to see my team win. Okay? I want them to win so bad. We went to the championship in 99 and we got swept by San Antonio. But during that time, you had one of the greatest NBA basketball player of all time. I say one because different eras, so on and so forth. People gonna get mad at me. Michael Jordan playing on the Chicago Bulls. Every time going against my Knicks, they keep on winning over and over and over and over and over again. You still got Chicago fans who are diehards saying that next year we're going to win. I'm a Knicks fan, and I'm always saying next year we're going to win. Look at the Dallas Cowboy fan base. We're going to win it next year, and they was dominant in the 90s. Next year we're going to win. 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 In football, there's only one team that was undefeated throughout the whole entire season, and that was Miami winning the championship. So their mindset is stuck with PlayStation because they grew up with PlayStation, like with me, even though I hate Nintendo right now with their anti-consumerism, I still got a soft spot with Nintendo. And I want them to become better. But I'm not one of those cats where it's like, I own the Switch and the Switch 2. I don't own the Switch 2, but I bought the Switch 2 because of nostalgia. No. If I'm going to stick by what I say, I want to stick by what I say. Until they become better, then I'll buy the Switch 2. But until then, no. They can't separate their fandom and reality. And it sucks because a lot of people giving them great criticism, but they're failing. It's just a mindset. But let's go back to this. Mighty Keith. Damn. So Sony really went through with it. No more single player PS games on PC. They want to keep their identity on console. I'm not mad at it. Of course you're not mad at it though. You want to see a lot of PC players going to downvote PlayStation. PlayStation have become their identity. Exactly. It's ridiculous.
This strong sense of PlayStation fans that want the best for PlayStation long term. And they do feel like the lack of games.
Here's the thing. I don't think the PlayStation fans understand they want them to be good for the long term. Because think about it. The PlayStation fans are older than me. They're older than me. So since they're older than me, they still got this mindset where it's like, oh, PlayStation always going to be better. But you want to live in that era where it's like, yeah, PlayStation good and everything. The younger generation are becoming adults and they want to make money. So they're looking at the PC as this tool where they could play games, they could make money, they could create games, they could do a whole bunch of ways where they can make money just by having $500 build. Like literally, $500 build, I could build something and make money. Why do you think you got young millionaires now? Because guess what? They're not playing around. They're making content, they're making games, they're making smart moves, they're doing research. They're doing all of this just to make money so they don't have to struggle. I understand a lot of people hate AI, but they're using AI to make money. That's all it is. Like, that's all it is. The older generation getting pushed, and guess who's realizing that? Exactly. You don't need much power to create. Guess what? You got people creating content with their phones, which is a lot powerful than the first moon launch to the moon in 1969. So they're making content off of their phone and they're using this just like a computer. Samsung Galaxy, you could connect it and there you go. You got yourself a DeX. Apple make it so easy that you could do a whole entire channel off of Apple, off of a phone. You got the MacBook Neo that came out, that's $600. Imagine you're a student, you get that $100 off because of the school discount. My sister got a Mac. So you could create, you could make money, you could do a lot of stuff, and they're gonna make money. Because guess what? A lot of people just not worry about consoles anymore. They're not worried about physical copies. And I hate to say it, it sucks.
Lack of real console identity is hurting it in more ways than just, oh man, I wish I had these exclusives only for myself. Damn, Sony really went through it. No more single player games on PC. They want to keep their identity on console. I'm not mad at it. Now, I do think this is interesting. So many people talk about that console identity. Back in the day, especially that PlayStation 2, that early...
Back in the day when I was young, I'm not a kid anymore, but someday I say, wish I was a kid again. Oh man, I'm old. Woo. But no, let's talk about that. You talk about back in the day. We're in the present. Back in the day happened, okay? It happened, okay? Who cares? All right. Who cares about back in the day? We're all getting old. You're about to be 60? 50? You're up there.
The Xbox era, or even Xbox 360 versus PlayStation 3. It was interesting.
Xbox 360. What about Nintendo and Sega? The ColecoVision versus the Television versus the Atari.
The different consoles almost had different focuses. Like the Xbox had a lot of really, really good shooters, but not a lot of RPGs. Where
you know what? I'm about to bring it back. The Odyssey manipulated something on the TV. Back in the day, that was innovative. Atari and Television, ColecoVision gave you blocks and graphics. That was innovative because with the Odyssey, you had a layover that go on the TV, either 24 or 27 inches on the CRT. Nintendo came out and Sega came out with the TurboGrafx 16 came out that gave you different worlds and side traveling that the Atari, ColecoVision, and Television couldn't barely do. There was one game I was playing on my Atari console, and there was one game, I think it was a Hunter House game, kind of did that, but it was limited. Indiana Jones was another one that did it, and that was innovative, but Nintendo, TurboGrafx, and Sega, and the Sega Master System did it completely different. Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, I'm about to say it, came out with 16-bit, a lot better graphics, gave you more 3D with the Donkey Kong and the Star Fox. It was a 3D with 2D thing. F-Zero, oh my gosh, F-Zero, whoo. Then you had the 64, Sega Saturn, the 64, PlayStation, Sega Saturn, gave you true like 3D type of situation. Then you had the GameCube, the PlayStation 2, the Xbox that gave you more of a power to get you more into the detail. Yeah. So to me, I think it starts to slow down. I would say after the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3 era with the Wii, because graphics was a big jump in the 90s to the 2000s, but then the graphics wasn't really great, and now it's like, what can I do now? Like, what's innovative? Like, what changed the game now? I guess third-person action-adventure game with stealth elements. And to be honest, if you took the game from PlayStation right now, PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, and you brought it back in the day, they're probably going to say, wow, interactive movie.
The PlayStation 2 had tons of RPGs, but really a lot of its shooters, they weren't the best. It's interesting that there used to be this like sense of camp, whereas now the lines are so blurred.
It was time to be alive, seeing 3D development so rapidly. 90, yeah, I know, it's so, in a lot of ways, it's so amazing.
There really is just the PlayStation 5 at this point. Like if you're looking for like a crazy next gen graphics system, the PlayStation 5 is the place to go. And
you got the. If we're talking about consoles, you can either pick up the Xbox Series X or the PlayStation. If you want to pick up just the console, if you really want that next hype graphics, the PC is going to be your best bet. But you're not going to signal out the Xbox because PlayStation Guy exclusive, because there are people out there that don't care about exclusives.
I just think that it's interesting that we're in a spot where the console identity at this point has watered down to the point where it's basically just, do you want next-gen graphics, or are you fine with really good graphics that aren't bad or anything, but, portable level graphics, right? But I see a lot of people talk about.
You know what I realize? You haven't talked about if the game is fun. You're talking about graphics and graphics and graphics. If you want the best graphics, the PlayStation 5 is going to be your best bet. Don't even think about Xbox. But if you want something that have somewhat good graphics, but it's portable, then the Switch is going to be your best bet. Don't even think about the PC, the portable PC, and oh, that's right, a fun game. And this is where I think fanboys only care about the graphics. They don't care about how fun the game is. That's why I think they just want to have movie games. Right. Like, this is already guaranteed because King Thrash, graphics. What you call it? Reforge. The graphics is pretty good. DreamcastGuy. Hey there guys, DreamcastGuy here, and well, talking about the graphics here, you see how beautiful the background is? It's awesome. X-Vault. Now, here we go. We're going to talk about how Oh No It's Alex is, don't understand how the console is the best when you just want to sit down and play. I mean, come on, you got to understand the graphics of the video game is awesome. I could sit there and look at it all the time. So you're not going to move? No, I just want to see Mount Fuji in the back while I got the guitar on my back. While it doesn't look better than the PlayStation 4, they did smear Vaseline on it to make it look realistic. And do you see the shadows right there? That ray tracing that been there because it showed better than ray tracing. we are reaching what possible on a 2D screen. So the game to evolve, we need to break out of 2D. Plus pixels isn't really going to do anything. Exactly. Hey, that's why I love doing 3D, because yeah, you got 2D in each eye, but they made it into the 3D. And to me, that was innovative when I was growing up because of the going to like a Fun Escape, which is like a main event back in Syracuse. But Fun Escape was a 90 place like main event, stuff like that. And they had this big, huge machine that you could look and have it with 3D. Yes, everything with polygon, but to me, that was like the best. And that's why I got my 3D thing. So I'm thinking about doing bowling with that, and I'm trying to get it put together. So that's going to be fun.
Ghost of Yotei will not launch on PC anymore. Sony is changing its PC strategy for upcoming single-player games, while live service games will still be on PC. Look at just so many of these replies. I wouldn't mind Sony making first-party games on Xbox, but I understand with PC, they got too many rigs, configurations, and people always claiming the game sucks and runs terrible when it runs amazingly well on the PS5 and the PS5 Pro. Sony don't need that. PC...
Guess who destroyed that? Guess who destroyed that? Guess who destroyed that? Then RP World? Capcom destroyed that. It doesn't matter what you have. Why did Capcom, let me read it. Yeah, I know it was fun, but why did Capcom create Resident Evil 9 or Requiem and it ran perfectly on every single platform? You saying too many rigs, too many CPUs, too many GPUs. Too many GPUs, exactly, is a given. Yeah. But yet, Resident Evil Requiem or Resident Evil 9 ran perfectly on the PC, despite on any other platform. Please, tell me. I'm here all day.
Is a gimmick anyways. Well, that is that lost me a little bit there. This is something interesting though, which is that I'm wondering how much of this is about mods. How much?
Somebody replied, it's all about business. The recent game didn't do very well. It just way more valuable as us. But at the same time, didn't PlayStation hire a company called Nexus that do PC ports? So there's no excuse. They have a team to do the ports.
This is about basically bad versions of the games going super viral. Oh, here's the late
Wolverine was on PC first because of the hack.
This game at super low graphics setting. I just wonder how much this really just wasn't worth it on the back end. Some of the numbers are that they made like about $2 billion.
We need the industry to adopt Capcom engine than Unreal Engine. Hold up, let me do a little for you. Yeah, I agree 100%. Like, I agree.
PC, which sounds big to us, but that's technically about 7% of their entire profit was from PC. I bet they're at this point where they're like, okay, well, 93% of our money is coming from PlayStation. Is it really worth it to even bother going over there and liquidating our brand a bit?
Can I say this, though? I think the next studio that might go down for, if this is true, I think the next studio going down for PlayStation is probably going to be Nexus. If this is true, I think the next studio going down is Nexus. I'm dead serious. I'm dead ass serious. I think it's going to go down. That's a shame because you assume that Sony was trying to be pro-consumer by putting games on every other platform. But if the new leadership is saying we're going to go ahead and put games, only single player games on our own platform, I think the next company that's going to go down is Nexus.
PlayStation no longer releasing games, single players, live service games. People actually said specifically, apparently Marvel's Wolverine is listed as one of those games they said, okay, this can never, ever leave the PlayStation. Great news, let's go. Still not getting a PlayStation 5. Good for Sony. People now have another reason to hate them.
Thank you.
PlayStation just shooting themselves in the foot. PlayStation has no games. Look at this. Every meme. Ironically, they do this after the Xbox brand ROG Ally and the next Xbox having...
Was it the whole PlayStation exclusive stop narrative from Jason Sony? Exactly. They haven't. That's why I'm going off of rumors. Like they're saying, oh, it's going to go this, that, and the third. I'm going to keep it real. I just see these as rumor. I don't believe anything what they're saying. I'm just reacting to DreamcastGuy, and I can't wait.
Steam, aka Sony, is being petty, anti-consumer company, and its fan base are toxic drones.
Oh, you got hurt, DreamcastGuy. Let's see how hurt you got.
Petty, anti-consumer company, and its fan base are toxic drones. My lordy. I do think that this is 99% of it, which is that since we know the next Xbox is going to have Steam games on it, it's going to have an Epic Game Store.
Yeah, think about it. So here's the thing. Xbox evolving, right? Xbox is evolving. And since they're evolving, they're like saying, okay, well, let's go ahead and make a console that have Steam so we could go ahead and have more people to play games. It's on Steam. Let's go ahead and add Steam to it. People keep on forgetting Xbox is owned by Microsoft. And I think a lot of people forget that the first Xbox was based off of a Intel laptop. Why do you think they had a hard drive in the in the Xbox? Why do you think the controller that went into the slot was USB? Imagine Sony come out. We are still supporting PC. Dreamcast is, ooh, I will do a video, guaranteed. But yeah, the Xbox was basically a PC. Yeah, so they can't argue with that.
For like a BattleNet launcher. I do think that Sony is just like, all right, we don't want to have the ability to boot up to fully beat and to fully play the entirety of our big single-player games like Spider-Man holding an Xbox controller on an Xbox. That's just going to make some normies sort of lose their mind.
No normies. It's going to be fanboys losing their minds. A normie going to be like, I don't care. I don't care. While PlayStation fanboy, oh, this is not fair.
We are inside of like the hardcore gaming bubble, but a lot of times I do get a chance to talk to like normies, people that are casual gamers, and they will say stuff that is so dumb sometimes it blows your mind. And I don't fault them for it. They're just not inside the bubble of like constant news.
What do you mean? I'm in this bubble and I see you saying some dumb shit. Games should be everywhere. Exactly. Games should be everywhere. Despite on what platform you play, games should be everywhere. No matter what. I don't care.
Feed that we are. And there are a lot of people where they don't know which games are exclusive or which games aren't. I definitely have had people buy an Xbox Series X and tell me, why can't I find Spider-Man on the store? And you have to explain to them, well, Sony owns the rights legally to Spider-Man games. So only.
Yeah. And that actually kind of pissed me off. Because here's the thing. I played Spider-Man Shattered Dimension. You played with 4 different Spider-Mans. They all had different abilities. It was fun. The story mode was like, 3 minutes per scene. Boom. I love that game. The cutscenes wasn't long. The game was fun. You get to play as different Spider-Mans with different abilities. My favorite is Spider-Man Noir. I love that game. I had it for the Xbox. Hence, when I found out The Amazing Spider-Man was only on PlayStation only, I was like, why the fuck is it on only PlayStation? I had the Spider-Man on Xbox because Sony owned the rights for Spider-Man. And my idea is like, but Spider-Man was everywhere before Sony even owned a console. Why am I only playing Spider-Man on a PlayStation? Well, Sony owned the copyright for Spider-Man. But that doesn't mean that they could take away the game. And they did. I was pissed. That was dumb. And I'm still mad about Sony about that. That's why when I bought Spider-Man for the PC and I played it, I got bored. And then I got to play Mary Jane. Please, get out of my face with that. I thought I was playing Spider-Man. Not the Miles Morales, because I didn't get that game. I got Spider-Man. I was supposed to play as Spider-Man, nobody else. But guess what? Miles Morales, Mary Jane. Why am I playing as those characters? I was supposed to play as Spider-Man. And that's when I was like, you know what? I'm not going to finish the game. Now we have to buy another stupid box just to play a game you want to play. Exactly. That's why I refuse to support Sony. I will refuse to support Nintendo, and Xbox was on wrong time, and I was like, yeah, I'm not supporting you either. Until they start changing, then I'll support. But other than that, I'm not wasting my money on those things.
They choose where it goes. And it is interesting to me that it almost feels like Sony is trying to just make this as simple as possible for those high-paying normies.
So let me get this straight. How is it simple? You say simple for high-paying normies. So people who have money? What about people who don't have the money? What about them? What happened if they only had the $70 but have an Xbox? Have the $70 but have a PC. They can't get Wolverine. They can't get any other games. And that's why it's anti-consumerism. That's not fair.
Our games are on PlayStation because we are PlayStation and we make PlayStation games.
Hey, you know what? I'm okay with that. I'm okay with this. You want to know why I'm okay with this? It's because what happened with Wolverine I think a year or two ago, it was leaked out with more information by Disney and Sony. If I'm not mistaken, Naughty Dog or whoever created Wolverine, I don't know, I don't care. they have to sell a certain amount of copies of X-Men. If they don't sell that many copies, they have to pay Disney a certain amount of money because they haven't sold that much. So if you're making this game, it's only exclusive. If we could look at Spider-Man didn't sell no more than 20 on the PlayStation 4. I think 25, if I'm not mistaken. So how do you know Wolverine going to sell that much? And they have other projects. And if they fail of selling it, PlayStation is going to be in deep doo-doo. So you know what? I'm okay with that. This is going to be an epic fail for them. Cannot wait till that happens. Not because people deserve to play the game. I just can't wait till the corporation, another corporation, screw another corporation.
These have been some off-the-cuff AM thoughts. How big of an impact do you think this will actually have? And do you think this is going to lead to a bigger uptick of PlayStation 5 sales? Because that's clearly the point here.
No, it's not going to sell a lot.
Tell me your thoughts in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like. Subscribe if you haven't.
Okay, that is 4 videos from DreamcastGuy. To be honest, all of these are rumors. Okay, all of these are rumors. Until Sony say that they're not putting their games on the platform, I'm not going to believe them. I'm pretty worried for Sony intellectually and fair games. Yeah, I mean, these come out and people going to say, hey, I heard Sony going to be exclusive and this is not worth it. So, you know what? They need to get a slap in the face because the only way companies going to listen if we talk about it. And Sony fanboys is not going to do anything. It's for us as regular gamers, PC gamers, Xbox gamers, and Nintendo gamers. And the real true fans of PlayStation, not PlayStation fanboys, because they love this. Only the true fans of gaming need to speak up. And we need to keep the fanboys out of this. But hey, that's it. What you guys think? Let me know. And remember, everybody human. My name's Sendou. You have yourself a great day. Peace.